Lounge today. It's Tuesday, and we have Warp in the house this fine week to take us on a very speedy journey through the world of TitanX. So welcome, gentlemen.
What's up, Ted?
Thank you. Yeah, it is going to be a speedy journey, man.
Yeah, I know you got a hard stop, bro. So
no, I'm talking about our auctions being only a 7-day.
Oh, that.
But yeah, but
great
a hard
segue.
And
great segue.
Yeah, and I'm going to warp into trying to nap my daughter at 12:30. So we'll see how that all goes.
Okay, that sounds good. Well, I'm not too familiar how familiar you are with the lounge, but the lounge was just a concept that kind of came up with just trying to create a platform or a place to go in and with no expectations, really, just meet with founders, developers, and the sorts, just to kind of, let the rest of the world know that they're a human being, that they have emotions and feelings and so on and so forth. But at the same time, a personality, and being on the back end and working with you guys and seeing you around the neighborhood, relationships form and develop, and it's kind of a unique brotherhood. So on that note, I always like to kind of start the show with a little disclaimer. Anything that we talk about here today is clearly not financial advice in any way, shape, or form. Any information that is shared or talked about here is highly encouraged and recommended that you do your own research. And if you have any trouble in that research process, we have a community called TitanX that would be more than willing to help you out. We have lots of different areas that you can reach out to. Primarily, the number one source would be the TitanXHub.com. Is a great resource to get started, to get a real sense of how this ecosystem has grown and where it's going. So on that note, a boys from Warp are here. So, gentlemen,
I like that disclaimer. if you go to get support in the ecosystem chats, keep it in the chats. Don't respond to DMs or phone calls.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Yes,
thank you. You know what? I'm gonna make sure I fold that into my routine. That's definitely a good one. More thorough. But all right, so gents, typically in the lounge, I like to kind of get a sense of where you are and where you're from. Johnny, I guess we can start with you. I guess you'd like being a nerd, obviously.
A little bit.
But
never thought I would be here for sure. But
so what was your upbringing like? I mean, where'd you grow up, and what interested you as a kid, man? What brought you to be Johnny?
My very, very interesting upbringing, and I say that because and anyone that has grown up with a military family will know exactly what I'm talking about. But both my parents were in the Coast Guard. Okay. So as a kid, I've lived everywhere, pretty much up and down the East Coast. Wherever there's water, I've pretty much lived there.
Cool.
Born in Florida, moved to Pennsylvania. From there, lived in Connecticut, 2 different cities in Connecticut. Didn't even think there were 2 cities in Connecticut, but I've lived there. Because my dad was working at the Coast Guard Academy at the time. From there, we moved to Williamsburg, Virginia.
Okay.
I did high school in Williamsburg, Virginia. Then I did 2 years at George Mason University in Northern Virginia.
Did you have a season pass at Busch Gardens?
I did, and that was back
when
it was back when it was $100.
Yes, that's when I was in the military. I had a season pass for Busch Gardens.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It was a good time. And then from there, I did 2 years at George Mason University in Northern Virginia, and then I got recruited because I played lacrosse. I got recruited, and I went to Penn State. So I finished up at Penn State. That was a good time. Went back to Northern Virginia, met my wife. Now we were dating at the time, and she basically gave me a text. Was like, "Hey, how do you feel about living in Miami?" And I was like, "Let's go." So
yeah, right.
It was actually cheaper at the time to live in an apartment on the water in Miami than it was to live anywhere in Northern Virginia / DC, Maryland. So we were like, Let's go. Sold everything that we couldn't fit in 2 cars, moved down there, and we gave ourselves 5 days to figure it out. Found a nice little comfy place on Collins Avenue in Surfside in Miami Beach. And then we lived there for a year or two. Then we leveled up. We moved to a nicer place in North Bay Village.
Yeah.
Lived there for about 6 years. My wife got pregnant with our first kid, and we were like, well, Miami's not the spot for a family. At least Miami Beach isn't. It's mostly degenerates and vacationers.
Yeah.
So
tourist town.
From there, we moved to Kentucky, and that's where I live now. I've been here for about 6 years.
Kentucky.
Yeah.
Massive. And you played lacrosse in college?
Yeah, Penn State.
Okay, yeah. So how about this? I got a question for you, man. Since you played lacrosse, I mean, the origin of lacrosse was originally kind of like the concept or whatever that was founded, or the game itself was derived from Native Americans. Is that correct?
Yeah, man. They used to play to settle war disputes.
Correct.
So instead of just massively just beating each other with bows and arrows and tomahawks, a lot of times they would settle land disputes and things like that with lacrosse. And as opposed to the game that you see now, which is a lot more finesse based, not necessarily I want to kill you based.
Physical, yeah.
What they would do is the goals would sometimes be miles apart.
Oh,
so instead of just like a football field that you see now, no, it'd be like one goal's here, the next goal is like a mile away or something like that, and they would literally play to the death. And that's how they would. Yeah. So, and then a small boarding school, I believe in New Jersey, was the first school to actually bring it to into what it is now.
Trippy, man. I didn't know they went to the death. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause growing up in Michigan, we had the Chippewa tribe. They were really, really big up there. And, you would see, historical artwork and stuff lacrosse. And I was, as a kid, look at it and go, wow, that looks pretty cool. Of course, it had a terrible ending, but cool, man. So Nathan, what's your background, bro?
I am. Well, hey, did you see that Rudy's trying to get in?
I don't see him. He's not in the green room. He's not in the waiting room.
He's actually. I realize he's not in the. I'm gonna DM him the stream.
I can
see if that works out.
Huh. Well, I put it in the streamers chat.
He's not. I don't think he's. Is he in there?
He should be.
Okay. Well, that's on him. Okay. So hey, I am. So I'm the product of. I'm born and raised in Pittsburgh, and it's like multiple generations of the steel. Working in the steel industry, so that went up to my dad from his grandpa, and his dad.
Hey,
there he is. What's up, Rudy?
What up? How are you? Yeah, I don't think I'm in that streamers chat, so
we'll change that.
I was DMing you for a link, so
I can confirm that was my DM, not some random guy.
Clearly,
yeah. It's like just connect your wallet, and then we'll be fine.
We're gonna be all set. No worries.
We'll get you taken care of. So I'm Pittsburgh born and bred, and now I'm over in New Jersey. So I excelled at swimming my entire life. Not so much anymore, but that got me to Rutgers. So that's where I did my college education.
So you're about 6'3"?
Nah, yeah, I'm actually 6 foot exactly. Yeah, that would be great if I had a couple more inches. But
as a swimmers are usually tall.
That's what she said.
Yeah, a couple more inches would be great. And that's where we start getting into talking about Tink.
Yes.
No, I'm just a couple more inches on my Tink. So that's I'm now fully a New Jersey guy. I don't know when I'm gonna be out of here, but I got my family here, and all my roots are back in Pennsylvania, in Pittsburgh. So that goes along with everything that comes with that, from sports affiliations and everything. But I'm married into a northern New Jersey family, so it's Mets and Giants and what, baseball? I'm not.
Yeah, who knows, dude?
Yeah, who knows? those Mets scoring touchdowns, But anyway, so but yeah, so I and now it's just I got my career, and I'm into deeply into this foray into what it means to be a founder in the TitanX ecosystem. Like Johnny, I actually never really thought I'd be here. I thought I'd just be a player and be working the mod duties in the chats. Yeah. But we saw an opportunity and decided to go in it together. So our background, me and Johnny, we go back to being TitanX OGs, but then really getting into the liquidity game. And Johnny was really helpful in me starting to understand. Okay, so we got this really great protocol in TitanX, and you have this whole staking feature. And then we were kind of always in the DMs, just kind of weighing the pros and cons. And he turned me on to what liquidity providing means, and the story kind of writes itself from there. By the time it was last, it was last February, I think, when we started that chat. But we're hitting 600 to 700 members strong in there now.
That's great.
It's an interesting time for liquidity providing, because we're right on that cusp where it's like, are you gonna just have your bags and hold? Or are you going to make it's going to have to be some smart choices, especially when you're considering gas, Gwei, and the pairs that you're actually working with, and what that means from fees earned versus the actual gas in and out on those things. So, but anyway, so not to say that there's not a lot of good opportunities, and not that we're going to be helping support the community as we move forward in the bull run. Into what that means as far as what you're holding, what you're involved in, and how LPing would be in that time. So I've learned a ton of lessons over the last year. And I think it's only made me stronger. I'm we can get into some of that stuff. It goes outside of the ecosystem, but we had a lot of our time in playing around and understanding what it means to actually do like liquidity walls and things like that. But that was a base was really our playground for that. But that could be coming back into the picture once we hit a sufficient amount of ecosystem users and start getting the X28 multi-chain address going. So that's going to be cool. Are you laughing at the multi-chain, or are you laughing at your own message? You telling you to let you in? Yeah.
Well, that's me.
Oh man, that's great.
Oh, that's cool, man.
So how did you guys get into crypto in the first place? Like TitanX, beyond TitanX, like what was the initiation?
So my story is pretty interesting, because I'm like big on so I was a religion major in college, and
cool.
That started out with going for your the core main kind of study of Western and Eastern religions, from anywhere from with a focus on like biblical things, but it turned into this big focus on Eastern religions, and got into Zen meditation, which turned into a much broader thing when I met my wife, with looking into overall like kind of energetics and spirituality as just a spirituality combined with meditative practices. And one of these random groups that I was involved in, that was more about like manifestation and things like that. Well, the guy that was heading that up, he's like, I think that, and this is back in like 2019, 2020, where he's like, I think cryptocurrency is going to be the next big thing. And so, you take this group of like people meditating and doing this like energy work together, and then we're suddenly looking at cryptocurrency together. And I went off. My foray into everything though was with I don't know if you guys even know, with Axie Infinity. Does that ring a bell?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got into Axie Infinity hard. That was like my intro. I had to learn how to set up my wallets, and that thing isn't even, I had to learn how to set up my wallets for that, bridge Ethereum. Well, figure out how to get Ethereum, turn my money into Ethereum, right? And then get that over. Made a ton of mistakes. Lots of lessons right off the bat. It's just like when you get into this and you're like, well, I'm responsible myself for all of this stuff I'm putting in here. And if anything happens, there's not really anything you can do in most cases. Mm-hmm. But I had this like, I had this team, and you could do these things called scholarships, right? With you got your Axie Infinity NFTs, and you could loan them out to people to play the game for you, and you made these agreements to take a cut or whatever they earned. It was pretty cool. And I stayed on that side where it's like utility as far as like gamification, and I got heavy into walk to earn and run to earn kind of stuff. I think Steppin was the one that came out after that, and that was pretty much what I was doing up until I found out about TitanX. And I was hardcore degenning too, where it was like, and that was, so I was doing that. And then Pepe came out, and that was what, April 15th or something, 2022, I think, or,
yeah.
And that's where I learned about meme coins, a lot of the pitfalls. With meme coins, right? And that continued all the way up until I got into TitanX. So I took what I still had remaining and pretty much went all in on TitanX, and kind of been in there ever since. Apart from me and Johnny learning and playing around with our liquidity positions and other realms outside of Ethereum.
That's cool. So Nathan, I have a question. So you talked about getting familiar with just how to get, Earthium into a wallet. But then you said you stumbled across TitanX. So Reader's Digest version, when you read the white paper for TitanX, Reader's Digest version, what was it that was different that convinced you or made you interested enough to do what you're doing right now?
I actually had never heard of mining outside of Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. And then so there was this other thing that I was interested in at the time called XYO. I don't know if you guys know about that at all, but it was like it was the first one where I saw where it was like, oh, you just get an app and you use your phone to be like the energy to mine, right? And you can convert that over to you can convert that whatever you got there into crypto, into that token. But then when I heard about TitanX, I was like, okay, I see how that went. But when you're actually putting up your Ethereum into something to mine it and using time as your gauge to how much you're actually getting back from it, and listening to Jake. So getting into watching Jake read his own white paper and understanding more of what he was trying to do. So at the same time, I had no idea about where he came from, a lot of the pulse chain stuff. So that kind of all came after I got into TitanX and started my miners, started staking, and then eventually got into liquidity. But during that time has been my whole kind of understanding of these much larger like interplay between communities, especially when it comes. And I don't know if you guys know, but there's a big interplay between Pulse Chain and TitanX with how everything started, right? So, absolutely. And that's like something you have to understand for yourself. Like how are you going to be the interplay between those? There's some tensions, right? Even with on each side, right? And even if you're fully in Pulse Chain, you kind of have to figure out where you are and who you're talking to and what you want to be doing there. But
right.
But yeah, so that's kind of where it's like I was really interested in what Jake was saying. A lot of the people that were around him coming from the mastermind, and a lot of videos that were released early. I watched a lot of that, and I got in right at launch. Actually, had no idea what I was doing. But then I was like noticing these, and by the time you get to like December, and I think December 21st was that really big, that double, or like something happened with the staking payouts where you had like two big ones coincide.
Mm-hmm. Probably had an 8 and a 28 day or something.
Yeah, and that launched me into all of my miners that came after that.
Nice. You played it well.
And so I hit claim on that last miner. That's funny. It was actually on a stream with me, Johnny, and Dude were on a stream talking liquidity, and I hadn't really, and this was not that long. It was like a month ago, and I used my last miner to create my Element 280 NFTs.
Nice.
Awesome. So,
Live. That was live.
live. And I was having a lot of it, and people were like, "Oh, there's a lot of problems with this website." I'm like, "No, it's my computer." I'm like, I have all this stuff open, and my wallet was just taking forever to connect. If you watch that stream, it's just like, "Yep, trust me, guys. My wallet is still it's happening."
Don't worry, I know what I'm doing.
but I tried out the LP feature there as well, and it's really cool. I mean, you have a lot of options, especially with and I see what dude is trying to go. Of course, you have farms to put in pretty much a full range V3 1% position. With dude, it's kind of the easy button when you're trying to do a V2. Right? So, I mean, is that right to say that it's is that element 280? Is it V2 based?
Yes.
Yeah. So, but that's nice to have a kind of set and forget and watch, and through V2 your fees compound back into themselves, which is nice for people that don't have a lot of experience with it. It's like you go in there, you pick your pair, you put up the 50-50 and just go and
Cool, man. Cool. Rudy, I know your background, but you can give everybody else a little snippet.
Yeah. I got into crypto probably 2021. My brother-in-law had called me and he's like, dude, we got to do this. And I was like, what? He's like, crypto. I'm like, oh, fuck, here we go. Like when I get into something, I get into it hard. And literally probably within those 2 months, I had left the job I was working at and went into crypto full time. Had pretty good luck. It was, during the bull market, playing some stuff on Solana, playing some stuff on other chains. I mean, I think like even at that time, like Avalanche was doing, there was some projects on Avalanche and Ethereum, obviously. But from that point to where we are now, I had really been doing a lot of degening, kind of in the Pulse Chain trenches, etc. I was day one bridging over to Pulse Chain, and I think that's kind of how I found out about TitanX by proxy. I've told this story a bunch, but it was my wedding anniversary day, and it was my first wedding anniversary day, and TitanX launched, and I'm like, babe, and she's like, oh, what the fuck, like another crypto project. So I aped into TitanX like without reading the white paper, and then I read the white paper, and I was like, oh, okay, let me like undo this and redo this. And since then, like, I really was like fascinated with the idea of like what build on TitanX could be. Like nobody really knew what it was going to look like at that time. And I had come up with the idea to launch an NFT project because it seemed like something different. We had a different way of doing it, with the liquid NFTs. And, from there, I've just been plugging away, meeting a lot of great people like yourselves. I don't think we've been on stream together yet, but I've been looking forward to actually meeting you guys, learning about Warp, etc. I'm really spending my days right now building. We're working on this project, Mizuki, which you guys have probably heard about. Been really such an incredible opportunity to introduce something into DeFi that hasn't been done before.
Oh, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, definitely. It's cool.
Wait.
It's a culmination of like everything that I've been learning over the last year. I feel like with crypto, like yesterday is not today, and today is way different than it was yesterday, and you're always learning things. And I feel like Mizuki was a good way to put everything that I think are the best parts of crypto all into one project and under the best roof of all being X28 TitanX. So I've been really, really excited to get that out there.
Yep. So, well, it's a pleasure to have you guys here, obviously, but
well, hold on. What about Johnny? How'd you get into this mess?
Jesus Christ. You don't want to hear how I got into it. I got into it back in like 2017-ish.
Yeah.
It was when Bitcoin was starting its rise to like 20K. And a fucking Uber driver was talking about how he's going to be the next fucking Bill Gates. And, I mean, that's how it is, right? And that's how we know now that when you hear an Uber driver or like someone that you're like, really? When they're like, oh yeah, dude, this is the fucking truth and blah, blah. That's like,
Top
there's my
signals.
top signal. There's my signal. I didn't know that. I didn't know shit. Right. So I'm like, okay, cool. Let me look at Bitcoin and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, that's how I started my foray. And then I went down a dark path of creating a sniper bot for Bitcoin that did extremely well in the bull market. It was trash in the bear market, though, right? As one could imagine. So that's where I started learning about other kinds of coins, and I was doing this all on Binance, back when you could use Binance, and then they had to change it to Binance.us, and that was a whole thing. So then I kind of like gave it a break for a little bit, and then the whole Hex thing on Pulse Chain. I'd been watching Richard Hart since 2017, well before he was launching or even talking about launching Hex. And so I missed the Hex launch. I remember seeing him streaming, talking about Hex, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, well, I remember listening to this guy. And he was super smart. So, you know, fuck it, let's go. I got into Hex after it had already done its thing. It already did its 10,000x and it dropped down. It was at 2 cents when I got in, and then it shot up to like 12 cents. And then the SEC shit happened, and then it just came down. I was able to get out at like, I think I got out at like 8 cents or something. And then he launched Pulse Chain. Started degenning super hard on that launch, just doing the ratios, which was insane. Got into that kind of stuff. And the whole time while I was listening to Richard Hart, I was also listening to this guy, Jake Sharp. And I remember he used to do a whole ton he'd be on streams all the time, talking with like Access Alive and stuff and all those guys, which I'm a big fan of those guys as well. And I remember listening to him and being like, "Oh, he's coming from more of like a neutral macro kind of thought process." So I was trying to get out of because what I didn't want to do was, because I'm like you, right? If I focus on something, I'm 100% in, like I am all in, right? What I saw that was pretty, I didn't love about the Hex and Pulse Chain stuff was that these guys, if you talked about anything else, they were like, you know what I mean? But then here comes Jake Sharp, and he's talking about like macro stuff and blah, blah. So I was like, okay, he's a nice, like, he's able to neutralize the stuff that I'm hearing over here. So let me go ahead and start paying attention to him. And then from there, it kind of whittled down the people that I actually listen to now. So back then it was just Richard Hart and Jake. And then I found your friend Sami, so I listened to him. Those guys are who I was listening to. Then I didn't hear anything from Jake. Not like me here. He wasn't on streams or anything. He kind of went. I don't want to say he went dark, but just wasn't anything coming from that camp. Next thing you know, on X, back when it was Twitter still, I think it was Twitter still when TitanX launched.
That's a good question. I'm actually not sure.
It was like right around the time when it was switching, but whatever. Mm-hmm. Back when TitanX launched, I didn't know anything about TitanX, hadn't heard anything about it because again, I hadn't heard anything from Jake. Well, I think it was like Mackenzie or I don't know, Cryptographic, someone that I had been following previously posted this ROI thing. Like, hey, look, check out my ROI, this thing called TitanX. So I was like, I like ROI. Let me look further. So I was like, I looked into it. I read the white paper. When I say I read the white paper, I read like 6 words on each page because like FOMO was already kicking in. I was like, I don't have time to read this. Like, I don't have time for all this crazy shit. I was looking at what happened and I saw that he had the word buy and burn in there 500 times. So in my head, I'm like, well, that's probably better than not having a buy and burn. I dig that. I had known that he took some of the principles from like Hex, Zen, kind of made this super protocol. I had no idea about Zen or anything like that. but I saw like where he took kind of like some concepts and just made it way better. So it took me about, I don't know, 15 seconds to decide to go ahead and just ape
mentality.
in. Here's the problem. I had no fucking clue what the hell I was doing. And I did 14-day miners in November. My miners came due December 4th. And if you pull up a TitanX chart and you look at what was going on December 4th, that was like way up here.
Yes.
That's when my miners matured. So I did a 7X in 15 days. And I was like, yep, I'm fucking in it. I am in this. This is what I'm doing. I took $0 profit, and just started going nuts on miners, 90-day miners, longer term, 90-day. Because I was like, lightning sure is not going to strike twice on this. I got super lucky. I'm not going to try to do that again and do a degen 2-week miner, at least with all my money. So yeah, I put it out 90 days, 240 days. And then in that time, that's when the heavy inflation period was coming. That's where I met Nathan, because I was in the TitanX channel. The way Titans of LP got started, we were in the TitanX channel, and Jesus Christ, this guy, Eric, was taking arrows from everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And everyone was like, fuck you, dude. Like, you took my stakes, you took my jibs. You know? and I was like, calm down. I was like, hold on, everybody.
Right.
Liquidity providing makes you way more money than staking. I hope you know that. And then a lot of people started DMing me, like, tell me more. But the very first person to send me a DM was Nathan. And he's like, can you tell me more about liquidity providing? And literally in Telegram chat, back and forth, right? I was basically giving him a 30,000 foot overview on how to set up a liquidity position. I was like showing him videos, and he was just like, dude, we should start our own channel, and you need to make videos on how to do this. So I was like, I'm not a videographer. I don't have like cryptographics level of like videos. And he's just like, who gives a shit? Just like go through the basics and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, fine. So I did it, and it just took off. And then we had about 10 people in our group back in February, and we're at like 700 now.
I'll say it was astonishing to see when you had like a really small, even a small group of people. And this is talking when we were like 10 to 20 members. We were able, it was astonishing to see the effect that just a small group of people that are cohesive on taking a position in something can have on a chart, and completely piss off devs that want all their liquidity on when all the liquidity is on a V2, and you go into the Telegram, you're like, hey guys, I opened up the V3 1%, and you like get kicked, and then you're getting DMs from you're like, learn how to do liquidity right. You're siphoning off all of our volume. I'm like, yeah, that's the point, man.
Yeah, so we took over. I don't know if you guys have heard of Brett, but it's like one of the biggest memes on base. So we noticed that Brett was doing 10 million in volume a day, and there was no V3 1% pool. So me and Nathan were like, let's open up the V3 1% pool on Brett. And we did, with like $5,000 each. And we started siphoning off. Within like 4 days, we were not siphoning, but $1 million was routing. Yeah. Routing. $1 million was routing to our pool that we had opened up
per day.
So we were per day.
Yes,
we were making $2,400 a day with $5,000 in liquidity.
It felt criminal. It felt weird. You know, it
was like,
each side. Is this okay?
What's that? No. It was $5,000 worth of liquidity each, and so we started telling our Titans of LP. We started telling them like, "Hey guys, come in," and then like there was like 8 of us in this pool. Next thing you know, the liquidity providers from the V2, they were like, "Fuck this! I'm going in here. I'm seeing what's going on." So then that V1 or V3 1% pool started getting, $100,000 worth of liquidity in it. So then what did me and Nathan do? We open up the 0.3% pool and do the exact same. It did the exact same thing. So now if you go on base and you look at all the contract address, all the liquidity pools on base, their main pool is the 0.3% pool on Brett. And we took that over. We took that over.
Yeah.
Wow, that's sick.
It started with V2, then it went to V1, or then it went to 1%, and then it went to 0.3%. And that was with like 4 guys on the largest meme coin on base.
Yeah.
So
that's why it's really interesting to see, like, with the right, base has to be hit at the right time. But if it's like if you're going to bridge X28 over and get the community interested in that, I mean, base is a hard one because that's degen central, right? And you're going to come in with a white paper and audits, and they're going to be like, I just want to get my, like, I want to put in my money and get rugged or get my 500X, but we'll see. It remains to be seen. Like, if you have a good enough connection there, or you have enough of the TitanX community interested in doing an X28 bridge over to something like base, could be really, really cool, especially when it comes to people that don't know how to LP and want to do that with like pulse chain type fees, but it's still Ethereum. That's a pretty cool playground there.
Awesome.
So we'll see how that goes. Hey, so my heart's, man, this is going. What would you like to do? Because I'm happy to run through some of the white paper.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Do you want to pull that up, Ted? The docs.warp.
When?
Yep. I'll just go to the hub real quick.
We are gonna win.
Yeah, that's a crazy story though. Like in the concept of going multi-chain with TitanX is really interesting because, like you said, it does take quite a while to beat it into people's heads, like especially when you have like a really complicated white paper or something. Like the guys that are in TitanX, we like this stuff. Like, this is why we're here. When a new white paper comes out, I read it within a day or two. I'll probably read it 3 or 4 or 5 times, and I don't know. That's what I like in crypto. I've always really liked intricate tokenomics. Just like the idea of like interacting with the smart contract versus interacting with people. Like, you see so many like of these bullshit pre-sales going up. I like at that time on base, man, there was pre-sales that are running $5, $10, $20 million.
Yep.
And they'll go and launch a 2-cent token with some pictures that they probably hired somebody off of Fiverr to make.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like, that's the whole
they're
thing.
up 20x on launch.
Yeah,
those guys are up like 20x.
Dead in the water.
Right.
Yep. They just made freaking $10-20 million, whatever.
Yeah,
it's insane.
So the thoughts on that though is if you can use known terminology, like pre-sale is huge on other chains, especially on base. But if you're talking about a pre-sale that's not, it's not really a pre-sale, but it's an auction, like a very limited auction, that starts bridging this. My personal opinion is that starts bridging this realm of like, what's a meme coin and what's a protocol? And can you have like this memeified type protocol that has a fair distribution as a pre-sale, but it's a extremely limited auction, right? But then you have to start figuring out mechanics that are going to work for the longevity. Like, how are you going to have a buy and burn mechanic? Are you going to work LP fees to help support that? That remains to be seen. But I entertain those thoughts. We're not there yet.
Not quite.
Yeah, so we're at the stage.
Everyone's getting rugged.
What's that? What's that?
Everyone was just rugged on my end.
Oh, I think we're still
good.
The
Bruins are getting rugged.
I thought you said the Bruins got rugged too. I'm like, wow, I'm not really a Bruins fan, but that's okay if they get rugged.
Okay, can you tell me, man?
Are they? We heard the same thing. So Johnny, you good? Are you with us?
I'm good. I'm trying to make sure that the game. I wish no game.
So what we're quickly realizing with Warp is we're essentially we're like launching 4 protocols in one, basically.
Yeah, I noticed that.
And it kind of dawned on us when we actually got into the testing phase And some of the devs are like, this is like the most fun we've had in a long time with like making this all work. And the thing that we're hopeful about here is that the testing has gone really, really well so far. So the idea of having a fixed supply, right? We want these 700 million tokens distributed in 7 days, 100 million each day. And we're not allocating 700 million each to each input, right? It's going to be divided up. So we have an ETH input. So this is interesting to see how the ecosystem is going to go when you start having these protocols going with a ETH input, but also we heeded the call, like you, Rudy and Ted, to go X28 as an input. And we are at our core a build on Hyper. So Hyper is an input, and outside of the warp burn itself, the other major focus is the hyper burn that's happening. And then we heeded Eric's call to build on Tink. So we're build on Hyper, we're build on Tink, we're utilizing X28, and we're providing a platform for the larger community outside TitanX to learn about what it is to be a part of the community, and by entering via ETH. So we've gone through some iterations of this, but it's all straight up now. 35%, it's a 30% split of every daily allocation between ETH, X28, and Hyper. Tink is its own kind of thing that is its own interesting dynamic where we're only allocating the remaining 10% to that auction, but it's limited. It's only open 2 hours per day. At the end of 2 hours, the last 2 hours of every daily auction cycle, the Tink auction is going to open. And the benefit to those people where we're trying to be anti-whale, right? We're an anti-claim and dump, right? So if you auction within the first 12 hours of any auction day, you're going to get to claim your tokens right at the start of the next auction day. If you auction the last 12 hours of any auction day, you can claim starting the last 12 hours of the following day, anytime after that. But then the people that are going to be like, well, you can't, we can't do this, get in the last 5 minutes, get our auction in and then claim right away and get the real ROI. Well, okay, here's your Tink auction the last 2 hours of the day, and you can claim those right away. So have your fun with Tink. Auction all you want there. You're going to get your warp tokens right away at the start of the next auction day. So we'll see how that dynamic plays out. Now,
hey, Nathan, yeah. Real quick, are you going to have like is the UI going to have like a timer and stuff for that particular scenario which you just defined? Okay.
Yeah, we'll be showing that as soon as we can. So we're working on the front end. We're talking audits now. So the front end side is all handmade from the ground up.
Gotcha.
Where you're going to have so everybody's clear. You're going to have this interface where you get to look at the 4 inputs on the screen, right? So you're going to go ETH, Hyper, X28, or Tink. Tink is going to have its own countdown, right? So it's going to show you time remaining until the 2-hour window opens. Everything else is just going to be on the 24-hour timer.
That makes sense.
Whenever you click like Ethereum, for example, it's going to come to the forefront, so you know what you're going to be auctioning. You can only auction your ETH in that window, and it's going to show you its own ROI. So this is where we're thinking there's going to be a lot of gaming going on of the ROIs here, because you're going to have 4 separate ROIs happening every day, and people can pick and choose and see. So if ETH is at like a 10% ROI, but Hyper might still be at 100% ROI. So what are you going to do that day? And there's going to be a lot of Hyper supply on the market here. It's already happening, right? We're in a large inflation period for Hyper. So it's really good to have these prototypes. So we got Turbo. We got Matrix that has just FYI, everybody, Matrix has been delayed 2 hours because of gas fees. That's looking like now 2 hours and an hour and 40 minutes until that launches. And then we'll be coming out with a way for Hyper to be a direct input. So that's what I'm interested to see here. So you have Turbo with a Hyper direct input. Matrix is going to go about its inputs and Hyperburn in a little bit of a different fashion. And then Warp is going to allow for straight up input your Hyper token, get your Warp tokens, and then those are going to be allocated down through the buy and burn. So when you get past the Genesis and liquidity, because remember, we're starting our basis being the Titans of LP founders, right, for this project. So we are going to be managing a lot of different liquidity positions, especially when it comes to X28, because there's no X28 ETH and no X28 hyper pool. So for our buy and burn to work properly, we're going to have to be creating and managing some of these LPs on top of all the warp warp native token LPs that are going to be functioning across the entire protocol. So when it comes to the buy and burn, after you take the Genesis and the liquidity allocation that we're going to have for each one, 85% of all of the auctions of every token is going to go through what we're calling our fuel haven, which is going to store everything there, convert through the buy and burn everything to warp. And then there's going to be every time you get to the end where you're actually placing the call to use hyper to buy warp and burn warp, there's going to be a separate allocation that's directly burning hyper, and the rest is burning warp. And then there's a separate amount that's going to go back into the fuel haven. Into what's called into our warp drive, which is going to be our storage of warp tokens for perpetual auctions after day 7. We're taking a lot of pages from the various playbooks from other auction protocols that we've seen. And luckily we've had this time for development where we've been able to kind of do these little adjustments. It's like, probably is going to benefit us to have some kind of starting amount in that warp drive that doesn't get touched until the auctions after day 7.
Yeah.
And then we're going to be feeding that through the auctions as well, through the buy and burn. So we're going to have ample supply to have really nice auctions starting day 8 plus.
Super cool.
And then we're actually going to be playing around a lot with our liquidity wallets as well to make sure that we have the ability to wreck the bots in the beginning, right? And then build up that liquidity. So we've learned a lot from Steve DeFi and his Volt ecosystem that he's developed. And I think it's really going to benefit the hyper community. I think it's going to benefit everybody going through. So I don't know if you want to look through. I mean, that's actually the whole white paper.
Dude, you didn't even talk about farming, dude.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say. If you want to go to the other main thing, when you scroll down to the Tink token distribution, so you'll see that it kind of goes through its own thing. So 10% of warp and daily auction allocated to the Tink as an input. So it's still going to go through 85% going through there. However, 100% of the Tink TitanX farm fees are burned. So if you go to the auctions, and then if you scroll down to the Tink burn section, so you'll see here. So what we're up a little bit. So what we're going to do is, so 85% of Tink, right? So outside the 8% liquidity and 7% liquidity, 8% Genesis, 85% of those Tink tokens are going to be held until day 8, when we're going to split the Tink tokens 50-50 Tink TitanX and start a farm with those. And then every 8 days after that, we're going to compound everything coming in through auctions into that farm. So that's day 8. Day 12, after that farm has been created, we're going to burn 100% of those fees. That's what it's always going to do. Every 8 days compounding into the farm, every 12 days burning the fees. So that's going to be really, really fun to watch. And Eric, if you're listening, we're still looking for that build on Tink scholarship. But we'll see. So I think it's going to be really fun. So especially when we get to show what that's do. It's going to take a little bit of time, right? But when we're in month 1, by the time we hit month 2, we're going to have, I think we're going to be showing a some amount. I think we're going to have a very large share of that pool and a lot of fees to burn. So we're going to be burning a lot of Tink. Even though it's just a small little portion of it, I think it's going to really add up.
Wow. Johnny, got anything to add to that?
So I do have something. So what we're trying to do here is create a protocol that satisfies the needs for everybody. You have your long-term holders, you have your short, midterm, like traders, and then you have your degens. There is something for everybody in this. And we specifically, we originally were going to do this. We originally were going to do warp with just 3 inputs. I say just. That's pretty gnarly. But then I forget who it was. But we were like, we're going to piss off all the people that wanted to play the ROI game and get in last second and nuke it for like 2% or 3% or whatever, right? And so that's when we were like, as almost as a joke, we were like, bro, degen tank auction lasts 2 hours. And then we all like paused and we're like, no, this has to happen. This is absolutely has to happen. Let's make this happen. So we were like, all right, what better token to use for like the degen portion than tank, something that we're going to be farming for anyway. And we wanted to show people, hey, look, if you're making a couple $100 a week or $50 a week or $70 a week, and you're kind of poo-pooing like, hey, I'm not able to retire on my tank fees, cool. You can use those fees and directly enter our protocol with that. You don't have to swap it for anything. You don't have to swap it for Hyper. You don't have to swap it for X28. You don't have to do any of that. You can just go directly from your tank and go directly into warp and play around in there if you want. That's a way that you can use your tank. And, this isn't something that we necessarily recommend everyone just go all in on. If you only have like $50, dude, come on in, dude. Come on in. Throw some into the tank, right? And see what happens. What I'm most interested in is staring at those ROIs at all times of the day. Yep. The other reason why we wanted to go, 4 inputs is it basically demands attention at that point, right? If you just have 1 input, you might get people that are just like, I'm like, I check the ROI. The ROI is at like 20%. I know that someone's going to come in last second, nuke that down to 0, which is fine. But we want to have people being able to stare at 4 and be like, okay, Hyper's at 250, ETH is at 350, Tink's at 500. This one's over here at 10. Like, okay, now we have a couple of different options. And who knows? You're going to have people like freaking out, I'm sure. They'd be like, oh, I only got, 1 million warp with mine. It's like, haha, I used less money and I got 20% more than you did, over here on this one. You're just going to have kind of some battles going on which ROI people are going to chase. So for me, I think I have an idea of which ROI is going to consistently be better, but I don't know anything. What the hell do I know? You know what I mean? Like, I could be way off in my thinking.
I saw Tink was down to 36 cents yesterday.
What's it at now?
46.
Yeah, yesterday was a good day to grab. I don't have Dex Screener up.
Yeah.
I feel it in my soul that Tink's going to be one of those tokens to pump out of nowhere.
Hey, Rudy, you're a Pulse Chain guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You remember a lot. So people that weren't in Pulse Chain, we get a lot of questions in the farms chat. We get a lot of people are asking like, what's the price of Tink going to be? What's the price of Tink going to be? And I try telling them, go look up on Pulse Chain, go look up the price chart on Inc. and see what that did when it went from like 44 cents to $12 in like a couple weeks. And the only reason why it nuked was because of the SEC FUD. And
it's
insane. But you remember that? Like Tink.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
Out of all the Richard Hart core coins, Inc. was the winner. That one went
$88.
Oh, at first. Yeah. In the beginning. Oh, dude. Yeah. The APRs were just stonatic at bus. It was like 1,700% for like a week.
Yeah. It's crazy.
You're like, I just made $600 today. Did I do something wrong? Am I gonna have coming after
someone coming after me?
It's like, yeah. I mean, it was pretty vicious. But I tell people, I was like, look, man, If you want to see what Tink is capable of, go check out the ink chart and just know that that is not deflationary by any means.
Right.
We're going to be having multiple protocols because Ascendant is going to be burning Tink. We're going to be burning Tink. And I'm sure there's other people out there that are going to be burning Tink at some point, right? So
legit, if you can just burn off the daily emissions of Tink per day, just that number, like all of a sudden now there's zero inflation with Tink, and Tink's really not even that inflationary. It's just a small percentage that's being released each day. It's fixed, right? We know what the inflation is per day. And if you're able just to burn off that number, I forgot exactly what it is. It's like 1 Tink per second. But if you're like between all the protocols building, and then you get to a point that it actually becomes deflationary, oh my God.
And here's the thing. Warp is going to be, we're going to enter the Tink TitanX pool, right? Farm. And for the life of the project, as long as there's input coming in, for the life of Warp, we're always going to be farming and compounding and earning more Tink, right? So as the position gets larger, the
burn will get heavier.
The burn will get heavier, and that's just us. So that's just one protocol. Now imagine if there's like 5, I don't know, that are doing something with Tink and burning Tink. I feel like it's it'll help stabilize, help stabilize the price, right? Because out of all the protocols, I was saying this on stream with Ted a couple days ago. What I look at,
Johnny, hold on a second. Nathan, it's 12:30.
Yeah, I'm gonna head out, but I guess I think
make like a baby and head out.
Yeah,
I'm chilling.
Yeah, so I think hopefully that was good on the white paper. People can ask any questions. I am Zenithan on the chat, so you can ask me anytime. We have the Warp Telegram. You can come ask questions. The only other thing I think I didn't really hit on is everybody has to understand the buy and burn is going to look a lot like it does on Hydra or TitanX or Hyper, where you're starting with ETH moving to X28, X28 moving to Hyper, and Hyper buying and burning Warp. So there's going to be 3 user calls, and each of those are going to be filling up from the auctions every day, but each one is going to progressively fill up the other one more and more by the time you get to the I have the number in there, but by the time you get to the Hyper portion where we're going to be storing the Hyper ready to go burn Hyper and Warp, we should be firing on all cylinders there. It should be looking really good. So, but yeah, thank you guys. I really appreciate it,
man. Yeah, pleasure to be on with you, bro.
Yeah, Rudy, you're a good dude.
Hell yeah, you
and
too,
you
brother.
too, Ted, and
Thanks,
you, Johnny. So I'll talk to you guys later.
Nathan, you have a Tink. Nathan, you have a tinkful day, and
yeah. Well, you keep the Tink tank going here, and get everybody informed, and then we'll start our Tink bars of soap.
All right, brother. We'll be in touch.
Take the stink off with Tink. Yeah. All right, guys.
Take the stink off with Tink. Yeah.
Woo!
Oh God. Yeah, we had some great conversations the other day about Tink, and I was just saying that I'm not a big TA guy. I learned the hard way that if I try trading, I'm just gonna get fucking wrecked,
dude,
bro.
Same.
I it's not that I suck at trading, because I was really good at options trading on the stock market, but Tesla doesn't nuke 75% in one day. You know what I mean? Like, you don't get wrecked in the stock market as quickly as you can in crypto.
Right.
So the problem is that people that are decent at trading on the stock market, they come over to the dark side of crypto thinking that is a natural, that all applies. Zero applies. Crypto has like $1 million in liquidity. There might be a pool with 500,000 or 200,000. All it takes is one whale to get in a fight with his wife or husband. It'd just be like, you know what? Fuck this, nuke. And then your TA thrown out the window.
Done.
Right? So for me, it's always been buy and hold. But I like to look at charts and I like to see, okay, let's see what I can see. And from what I have seen, Tink has been my best indicator of bottoms and tops. And I was telling Ted this 2 days ago. I was like, watch the price of Tink. And combo that with going into the Telegram chats and seeing who's whining the hardest.
That's TA in itself, man.
Brother, that's it. That's all you need. Psychological. This is all psychology. It's all psychological, right?
Absolutely.
It's all up here. That's all it is. And when you start realizing, when people just are like, this is the worst fucking thing ever, I don't know why I put my money in this. Guess what happens? Just like yesterday. What happened yesterday? Jesus Christ. Bro, what was Jake X up, dude?
Oh, 70%.
70%? Is that good?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that good?
Whatever. I'm very little volume.
Bro,
yeah.
that was a casual 70%. You know what I mean? Like just a casual yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it wasn't the only thing that was up. Everything was up like 40%, 30%, 50%. Yeah. And people have to understand that this is how markets work. Okay. Nothing is based on, okay, is Eric and Jake going to press the buy and burn right now to pump your fucking bags, right? So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking in the chats for people that are like, oh, the buy and burn is not turned on. Why isn't he turning the buy and burn? Or when it does turn on, it's not high enough, or blah blah blah. Woe is me. I put way too much money in this. That's what I'm looking for, and that's what I'm going into. That's what I'm putting I'm going to chip in some money into that. And for me, it's worked amazing. Amazing. Dude, I don't care about a chart. I could care less about a chart. I want to know who the people are. We have a strong community. TitanX is going nowhere.
Absolutely.
Right?
I was just going to say that.
This community is going nowhere. All right. We have our OGs, all the OGs. We're not the ones complaining. It's all class of 2021, 2022 that are like, bah, bah. It's like, dude, no one ever said put your rent money into this, right? Like, don't do that. Stop doing that. This isn't get rich quick.
No.
You can get rich, but it's not going to be quick. You have to be smart, right? And I don't know. That's what I've always done. I'm interested to hear what you guys look for when you're looking for like an entry into something, or do you just like, screw it, I'm just going in right now?
Yeah, that's actually a really great question. I mean, my strategy throughout like my crypto career has generally been launches and launch hype and trying to, I've gotten wrecked plenty of times, like, don't get me wrong, but there's been plenty of times as well that I've timed out things. You get that initial launch pump, it comes down, make that buy, forget about it for, it might be a few days, it might be a week, it might be a couple of weeks, come back, take your profits and move on to the next one. And that's kind of been my strategy, and it's worked really well. I mean, with TitanX, there's a lot more that's actually being built here, but I'm not saying I'm just hopping around from protocol to protocol, but there are opportunities to get in with these protocols on a very fair basis. I mean, you say you have 8 days, you have a month to get into something. And, I've been playing the ratio game, like everything. I'm not looking at it in terms of dollars. I know where TitanX is going. So I'm going in my mind, I'm always just trying to get more TitanX.
What gets you more TitanX?
Whatever gets me more TitanX, right? So I'm seeing a pattern with these different launches that are going on. I've been really interested in the auctions, particularly because, those have like their own ebbs and flows, right? And if you're watching how much is coming into the auction versus, what that daily distribution is, if it's a fixed distribution or whatever, but you're always trying to capture more supply no matter what you're doing, right? So playing the auction game has been really fun too, because it's a nice way to get into something on a launch without getting smoked, right? Like, granted, like if you get in day one on an auction, like you're probably not going to get as many tokens as if you wait a little bit. Like right now, I'm watching Shogun auctions. I went in a little bit heavy, a little bit too hard, a little too fast, but right now is where I see like major opportunity, right? Yeah. Like the price came down a little bit. And
because everyone, just like you, everyone goes hard at the beginning. Yeah. And it kind of I don't want to say it loses steam, but it loses that like new shiny object, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
For sure. That everyone covets.
Yeah. There's other squirrels in the neighborhood, man. I mean, squirrel.
Right.
Exactly. I like how you guys are doing a short auction, though, a short initial auction phase. That's 7 days, because
7 days, brother.
You need people after the fact to come in and buy the token, right? And when things are spread out too long, like you said, it can kind of lose steam. Maybe something else launches.
Right.
You have a 7-day distribution.
I'll get to it. Yeah.
You have a 7-day distribution. That's more than enough time to get in. Like you go talk about trying to participate in pre-sales and stuff like that on other chains. Bro. Dude, those things will fill up like before you even know it.
Dude, I got into a pre-sale about a year ago. I got into like the second round. There were 3 rounds of pre-sale. Mm-hmm. I got into the second round being like, this is such a scam. Fuck it. I'll throw $1,000 in. I don't care. Right. I got nuked. And I was in the second round of a pre-sale because they're like, oh, this thing's launching at 10 cents. And I got in at like, I don't know, 3 cents or something. The people before me got in at like half a cent. So it launched at like 4 cents and then just
died.
I was like, well, I knew that was going to, I kind of figured that was going to happen, but I needed to know. I needed kind of like when TitanX, you remember that for TitanX? When
that was a quick bro. That was a quick run. Yeah. That was right after JX launched. Everybody went crazy with
right after JX launched. Everyone's like, I don't know what's going on here, but it didn't rug. It didn't rug. So JX is like, okay, it didn't rug. It's probably legit because if you're rugging, you rug that day or maybe the next day. Like that's it. Like these things do not last long. So TitanX, it could have been awesome. I don't know why they rugged it. It could have been cool. The memes were fantastic. I mean, dude, the Telegram channel was degen to the max. Okay, it was just porn pretty much for the most part. But I remember I'm like, for sure, this is a rug. I want to be a part of this rug though.
Yeah,
I want to get rugged. I got about $250 burning a hole in my pocket. I want to watch this. I sat there. They launched. I got in. Me and a buddy got in over the phone because I told them, I'm like, this is 100% a rug. I just want to be a part of this and watch how crazy this is because it goes against every ethos checkbox there was. None of them were checked. So I was like, this is a perfect example of what Jake has been talking about, blah, blah. But I wanted to live this. And I want other people to live this. So we sat there. I put my $250 in. I don't know, 3 hours or 2 hours into it, rugged. And I was like,
thank you.
I was like, what an absolute masterclass. A perfect rug. Well executed, guys. You done hosed the community for like, I don't know. They didn't get much. They got like $12,000 or something.
Oh,
I don't know. I don't know how much they got. It wasn't like Pulse Latina. What's that?
A 10.
Oh yeah, a 10. Oh yeah. It was what an absolute devastation. But you know what? It's funny because you don't hear people talk about it in the community.
No.
So they had garbage they had ass participation. Their participation was garbage. But it's like, okay, if I noticed that their Telegram channel was at like 2,000 people or something, I would have been like, hey guys, this is a rug. Everyone knew it was a rug that went in. Everybody. Yeah. I was in that Telegram.
You have to be fully aware.
Not one person was like, oh, you mean to tell me that a coin called TitanX rugged? Huh. No one was surprised by that. But a lot of things were learned. Lessons were learned that day. And ever since then, I haven't seen another like bad actor like that come in and just, launch something and then rug it. Has there been? I don't know.
There was a guy that tried to leech onto the Titan Legends community early on. It was called like Robot Dragons or something.
Yes, I remember that.
And he was airdropping. Robot Dragons or something like that.
Oh, okay.
And he was airdropping all of the Titan Legends holders. And I was super sketched out at first. So I got on the phone with him and I talked to him and he had this idea of, bridging to other chains and all this stuff. And, we talked for, I don't know, half an hour or so. I was like, all right, well, he might have good intentions. And sooner than that, I guess they minted out the collection and he launched a token, rugged it, and that was it. So I think he got away with like 10 grand. But yeah, that was pretty sad actually. I felt really bad. about that happening because they were trying to target our community, which at that time there was only a couple projects on TitanX, a few at that,
Three,
and a couple being built.
If
it was so early on.
Yeah, I never even heard of it. I had never even heard of it.
You know,
it was like a quick 5-day thing.
Yeah, and I bet you I got like 25 or 30 of those.
You minted those? Oh man!
And the thing was, it was like they were so cheap. I'm like, all right, screw it. I'm just cranking these things out, and somehow I ended up with 700 million of the token or something. And I'm like, where did this come from? And then rug. It was like, it was just like, what?
Oh, when you watch it in real time, I've been rugged 3 times. Not afraid to say it.
Oh, I've been rugged probably, dude, like 50 plus times.
Bro, when you watch that candle of death, you're just like, it gets to the point where you're like, God damn it. Like the first time you do it, you're like, no, my life is ending. After that, after your first, because everyone remembers their first. The first one, I went into a honeypot, lost 20 grand. That sucked.
Wow.
Yeah.
It sucked.
Wow.
I was in the P-Dye community, and some dude had come out with a coin where you could stake your P-Dye to earn more P-Dye. So I was like, okay, that sounds like a cool thing. Everyone was saying it's going to rug. Everyone was saying it was going to be a rug. But I was like, man, yield. That's all I saw. I didn't hear. I just saw yield. So what did I do? I had 23 million P-Dye, dude. 23 million. I got in at like 3012 or something. Okay. Yeah. I look at what my wallet would look like right now, and I'm like, I want to slap puppies. But so the token itself worked. It was fine. You could trade it back and forth. So I was like, okay, I get it. It doesn't seem like it didn't rug. So I'm like, okay, cool. I staked all of it. And then the honeypot was the staking mechanism, the contract for staking, because it was liquid, right? You were supposed to be able to get in and get out whenever you wanted, right? So I instead of just doing like $100 worth and trying it out, I went all in. I went all in and it was at that time it was worth 20 grand. But what I can say about that, it was my own fault. I was stupid. I was chasing yield. I don't do that anymore, obviously, which is why I'm a like, I don't want to say I'm anti-staker, but that's why the whole Titans of LP kind of started. I wouldn't have met you guys. I wouldn't have gone into TitanX if I didn't get rugged, because all I had left on Pulse Chain was like a little bit of money in Teddy. And it wasn't much. It was a couple grand in Teddy. And that's when I found out about TitanX. And I nuked that, got into TitanX, and it's been, a massive success since then. So I would never have gotten into TitanX. I would never have even been looking for something else to get into if I hadn't gotten, I don't even know what you would call a honeypot, because it's not really a rug, but 20 grand.
That's
that one hurt.
Crazy.
That one hurt.
And I was like, one.
But it is what it is. You live and learn, and now I came into a community where I don't have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah, it's a big thing. Yeah, just being able to get into projects that are audited. I mean, that's unheard of in the outside space.
Unheard of. Yeah. Absolutely, it's unheard of.
And
go ahead.
Go ahead,
Johnny. Where are you guys at with your audits right now, or have you even gotten that far yet?
No, we haven't. So right now we're getting quotes, but I'm glad you asked. It's going good. It's going good right now. We're massively testing the front end. Yeah. So that's my biggest thing is we're going to have not a bunch, but we're going to have buttons that people are going to have to press. We want to make sure that, like Rabby and all these different wallets will connect, and that's going to be okay. We want to make sure the buy and burn does what it's supposed to do. Right. Mm-hmm. And that's my biggest thing, because the code is the code. Mm-hmm. And pretty much the guts of our code has already been audited like 9 times if you count all of Steve DeFi's, all of Steve's like pillars that he did.
Yeah, with the auctions.
Yeah, because the main guts of it are very Vault-like in mechanics. So, as far as audits go, my biggest thing is, first of all, I want to test the front end. I want to make sure the front end, because the code I already know is going to be, the code should be just fine. But speaking of audits, and I don't know, Rudy, it sounded like you were about to say something.
I was going to say it's you guys have a lot going on. So the front end is so important because that's your whole user experience. Like somebody comes on and if it wasn't clear on like ROI or when their tokens are claimable, et cetera, like you have to think about all of those little details, and people don't really realize what goes into just showing a stat, right? Like, if you just want to show like a timer or something, well, then you have to be able to connect it with everything else. So I'm sure you guys have your work cut out for you there.
Yeah. No, absolutely. We are. And the testing part, the good news is the testing is going great. Right now, the devs are we're in the quoting phase of getting some quotes for some audits. But I definitely wanted to say something about that, because I don't think the average user that's not a founder has any idea how much an audit costs.
Nope.
Some of these guys are charging 20 grand starting for an audit. Now, to an average user, they just look at a founder and they're like, "Oh, you guys are all worth millions. That should be no problem." No, that is not.
Dude, we're all those guys.
We're just dudes, just like all of you guys.
That is funny.
With great, with in-depth knowledge and great connections and great ideas. That's really what it is, right? So I saw a post on who was it? I think it was GooGod. Came into it was either Warp Chat or Titans of LP chat, and he sent a little Twitter post, so we rate it always, right? By the way, if you post a Twitter post in Warp or Titans of LP, we will rate it regardless. So
nice.
Just to let you know, if you want more eyes on your stuff, you're welcome to throw it in ours because we love everybody.
Great.
So
thanks for that.
Of course, brother. So he posted something. So he put a little Twitter thing in there. I click it and it goes to Brandon from buildthetech.com, also on the Morpheus team. And then also helped build Gelato on Pulse Chain. But he posted something that caught my attention, talking about how part of buildthetech.com, what they're offering is they will be able to offer audit services as well for significantly cheaper than, what's out there. And so I DM'd him. I got on a call with him, and we both were just talking about how now a lot of these auditors, and I'm not saying they're not worth the money. That's subjective. But let me tell you this. I will tell you this, right? I don't think that an audit should cost more than a protocol, or 2 audits cost more than the damn protocol itself. Everyone's talking about fair distribution, fair launch. Where's the fair when it comes to that? Now, the argument will be you get what you pay for. Okay, let me tell you what you get when you hire my in real life company. Okay, so in real life, I work for a cybersecurity company. I do sales, right? Work for a cybersecurity company. The team that I work with is called Red Seer. They're like the #1 penetration testing team in all of cybersecurity, okay, in the US. These guys are the best of the best of the best. Those are the devs that I work with. We don't charge fucking Fortune 500 companies $20,000 to do a penetration test on their whole network. Now, what does that get you? Let me explain what that gets you. When you hire us to do a penetration test, our guys go in and try to hack everything. They hack your servers, storage, access points, routers, switches, VLANs, everything. Okay. They want to see where you are susceptible to attack, where you're vulnerable, right? That takes a couple of weeks, hardcore. Because I mean, it's a process. They will also do physical security checks. They will try to break into your building.
Wow.
Okay. Right. And see how easy is it to access your building? How easy is it to access like a network closet? How easy is it to take a thumb drive and just plug it into a computer? How easy is it to do that? So they're physical as well as doing stuff remotely, trying to hack in. Okay.
Cool.
This is a huge process, a huge undertaking with professionals that have been doing this for over 20 years, right? 20 plus years. Now, when they're done, they come up with like an 80-page document. Every single line of code that they put into, like whether they're using whatever they're using as their software to get into the system. A lot of them are Linux based. So like Kali Linux or whatever, every single line that they type in, every single command that they try to get into, they have a written report on everything they do. It's like 80 pages long. Not only do they tell you what they did, but they also give recommendations on mitigation, okay, and how to prevent it from happening, what they recommend as far as what Volta can provide, what we can provide, my company, what we can provide to help mitigate all that kind of stuff, right? That doesn't cost $20,000, but you mean to tell me that a couple guys sitting in I don't know where to look over some code. Now I say some code. I'm being a little cheeky. Obviously it's pretty in depth, but I have a hard time believing that we can do a whole network penetration test on a Fortune 500 company and mitigation and help resolve that for less than the cost to audit code. Because I work with devs and I tell them how much these guys are charging. They laugh so hard. They're like, dude, we are in the wrong damn business.
I was just going to say that.
They're like, what is that? I'm like, yeah, how fast can you learn Solidity? They're like, and they'll look it up and they'll be like, I already know half of it. Yeah, like, I already know half this. So I understand that to develop it takes a lot of time, takes a lot of effort, takes a lot of energy. And I get that. And I respect that. But to look it over, and I've heard what these guys do as far as auditing goes. They're not sitting there with a magnifying glass, handwritten, going over every single line like that. You know what I mean? So when Brandon comes out and says, hey, look, my guys can do it for way cheaper because we don't believe that it should cost $20,000 to go over your thing, right? Now, if you're talking an absolute like a Dex or like a wallet or like a bridge, okay, I get a high cost for that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But for a protocol that has the same guts as 9 other protocols out there, $20,000 times multiple, I feel like you're out of your damn mind. So, so we hit him up, and I can't recommend him enough. He's absolutely amazing to work with. I've only talked to him for a day.
That's great. That's great.
But I got him on the phone, and he was like, look, this is what we're thinking. For everyone listening, they're going to start rolling this out in January. So this isn't like they're going to get on it right now.
Right.
But I feel like, if anyone out there is looking for an additive, an addition to some of these guys that are banging heads, what the hell's what hurts? Now, and I get it. And another argument you're going to hear is, well, these auditors have already seen this code. They're very familiar with code. They're very familiar with this stuff, with TitanX, blah, blah, blah. I don't necessarily love that. I work in tech, and I know how people are.
Yep.
And if you're looking at the same code day in, day out, you might get lackadaisical. Okay? I'm just saying. I'm not saying they won't, but why not get a fresh pair of eyes who hasn't necessarily audited this code 9 times already that could skip over something? Why not give someone with a fresh pair of eyes, a chance? And here's the other cool thing. Morpheus has nothing to do with Warp. Buildthetech.com. Like, they're not building our code. They're not doing our website. That's like another protocol. So what I'm thinking, and this is what I was telling Brandon, I was like, what an awesome way to show people not only do founders work with each other, but yeah, you could say that all you want, but why not show it by walking the walk? It's like, hey, look, we are working with the same guys that did Morpheus. Okay, look at their chart right now. Looks pretty damn decent. Look at their UI. Look at their interface. It's like best in class stuff, right? These guys are very professional. And I was like, I have no problem working with, another team if they can bring something like that to the table. And I am going to be shouting their name from the rooftops.
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up because I remember when Brandon posted that. He's good people, man. I mean, he's great. Even before he posted that, I had interacted with him, and we kind of got a little relationship going. And good, honest man. He's a veteran like myself, so we got some connections there. But I reached out to him last night on the very same issue, Johnny, and it was comforting to know that within like 2 minutes of me DMing him, he immediately responded. I mean, just
Same.
immediately. He's like, "Hey, brother, how's it going? Blah blah blah." He had some general questions. He wanted, just things to take something to his team today.
Yeah.
And that was basically, how many contracts we had, so on and so forth. And
Yep.
while this is going on, I'm in Telegram with Rudy, bouncing back and forth about, hey, this could be good. We could save some money here. And I just have trust in him from just knowing what he does, his mission, the way his views and everything. And if he's going to put that company together, and if he can take us on and help us out, man, that would be just fabulous, because it just truly solidifies a message that we've been sending as a community, that, we're here for each other too. This is an ecosystem,
right.
And it's unique in a sense. And we can say, and I want to say this, we can say, there's no other ecosystem out there like that. There's no other ecosystem out there like that. We can assume that. And the probability of that is very, very high. It's very, very true, because it is a nasty, it can be a very, very nasty place.
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen footprints of other communities, because Johnny, kind of like you, you look at ratios and stuff like that. I spend a lot of time, and I'm out in rabbit holes in other communities, in chats, in streams, in shill sessions, just absorbing everything everybody's saying. And then bringing that information back into our ecosystem and saying, okay, this is what's happening there. This is what I'm seeing here.
Yep.
So, but what we have here is sound, it's solid, it's proven. And to have Brandon, offer that to the community and being a part of the community.
That's massive.
Alone, it's incredibly massive.
Yeah, because he could very easily hide those guys and just use them for himself. Mm-hmm. And he's got every right to do so. But here he is saying, hey, look, there's a problem. I found it. Here's my solution to said problem. What's the problem? The problem is that these fees are getting a little out of control. And as the bull market starts going up, guess what's going to happen to the fees? You think those are going to go down? No. No. So, what about the builders that want to come out with something in February or March?
Right.
What's that going to look like? If it's 20,000 now, how much do you think these guys are going to charge, in February, March, when, hopefully, right? ETH is going
even higher.
Yeah. ETH starts going nuts. These guys are like, I'm going to need 30. I'm going to need 35. I'm going to need 40. Right. And then where do you draw the line? Where, how much is too much? I can only say, for me, based on my experience and what I actually sell in real life, and the dev teams that I work with, who are top of the damn world when it comes to network security and what we charge, I'm like, that's it seems a little shady. So he's going to piss people off by doing this.
There's a whole misconception.
I don't think he's worried about that.
Oh, no.
No, I can just see it. He's built for it. He's built for it.
There's a whole misconception in crypto, like it's not real money, right? It's like now we're talking about audits and stuff. Now, if you're going to go talk about like paying KOLs to do promotions, etc., if you have any idea of what that costs, I mean, these guys will charge 5 ETH just to like be in a stream with them for half an hour.
Right.
Like crazy.
Yeah. Rudy, for those that don't know what a KOL is, explain to them what that
just
is.
Basically like an influencer type person. Yeah. So like those guys, like they charge ridiculous money. I mean, like a 5-minute slot on an AMA will cost you $5,000. I don't think anybody here has ever paid $5,000 for 5 minutes of anything in their life.
100%.
But that's just the way it is. That's the price. And these guys, they find an opportunity to more or less, take advantage. And I'm talking about the KOLs particularly, but the fact that we have this community in TitanX where everything, we're already plugged in. We have like these great streams going on. The one that we're on today, there's constant streams going on. Mo's been running awesome streams. Callum, Smooth.
Oh yeah.
And people don't realize how fortunate we are to actually have those kind of resources where I can reach out to one of these guys and hop on with them, and I don't have to pay them 5 ETH to do it.
Right.
It's crazy.
Right.
But like
imagine if you didn't have to pay $40,000 for 2 audits. I see you, Utah. What's going on, brother? And he's absolutely right. Everyone does 2 audits. That's like the gold standard. Helps you sleep well at night too, just by knowing.
Definitely. Absolutely.
And we're thinking about, we're probably going to do 3. Now, if I can get an audit from Brandon that's not going to cost me $40,000 as an add-in, I don't see the harm in that.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? I don't see the harm in that, because it helps us out, because he's hooking us up for a price that's fair, right? And it helps him out, because here I am with you guys screaming his name from the rooftops, and I hope he gets more calls like he did from me and like from Ted. I want this guy to just start denying, like having to deny, like, oh, we got too much stuff going on, guys.
You know what? It's funny you said that's exactly what we were talking about last night. I was like, I'm going to get a hold of him immediately as soon as we get.
Same. And
like, no waiting.
And you know what? I hope that it happens to where, like I wish him nothing but the best and the most success. I want him to succeed, because I see what he's doing for the community. And I see how professional that team is. Mm-hmm. So why not get them to do more for the community? And they're willing to do it.
Yeah.
Why not latch on to that?
Right? Yeah, it's a huge value add across the board to the community. I think that's everything within TitanX too, is like, as long as you're adding value, it will get adopted. And what's really unique about like TitanX is that a lot of people had never thought about building a protocol on their own. They never thought they'd be in the position where they're even thinking about it. And what it's created is a source of inspiration for people to want to step out and do something different. And I mean, the audits are arguably some of the most important things that you can invest in, but at the same time, at what cost, right? I mean,
at what time is it an investment?
Right.
Where does that line get drawn between investment and just,
Yeah. It'll be, I'm really excited for Brandon and what he's doing. I saw that he posted that. And again, I saw that as a huge value add for the community. And these things can only get better over time. And like you said, like if you're thinking about doing 3 audits, 3 different teams with 3 different viewpoints, essentially, you're covering a lot of ground that way. Right. And again, outside of TitanX, man, audits are almost not even a thing.
Base, they don't know how to spell audit on Base or Solana. You kidding me?
Oh, forget about Solana, dude.
Yeah, dude, audit, like I get time for that. Like I go into this and thinking it's going to be an 80% rug. Like that's their mentality.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll be able to make enough noise to where those people kind of dip their toes into what we have going on here and saying, oh, you mean nothing has rugged? Nothing's rugging? What's the deal here?
Yeah.
Like, how do I get in on a pre-sale? There's no pre-sales. Well, how do I make money? How do I do this? There are ways to make money in crypto without having to do scammy shit.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's a hard one to beat into people too. I mean, I've seen a lot of people over the last few years, like kind of get to like, I mean, what these scammy kind of people are is that they're desperate. Right. Yes. And they figured out a way to manipulate people. And a lot of crypto is quite literally people stealing money from one another. Right. A lot of it, a lot of a lot of like these meme coins and stuff that launched that are supply controlled, like the team, people don't realize it. And I'll just put it out there, but like Brett, right? Brett was very supply controlled.
That was dude, yeah. Oh yeah. It still is.
I'm pretty sure the team held 70 or 80% of the tokens.
Yep. I was just about to say 80%. Yeah.
Yeah. So you talk about, something like that. And now everybody's fighting over the crumbs, more or less.
Yeah.
And these guys are sitting on, at this point, billions. I think.
Yeah. That'd be like one of us launching a coin, a $1 billion token distribution, but we have 800 million for ourselves.
Exactly. So you just leave the crumbs basically on the table.
It's like, hey guys, you poor peasants fight over the 200 million. I will decide when this chart goes up or down.
Yep.
Yes, that's exactly right. And what they do, and I've actually listened to them on a road trip on my way back from Michigan one time, and the chart did start taking a dip, and they went on this pump run for like 5 hours, and they're like pumping this chart to get it back to where it was before it went to the dip. And it was a 5-hour ordeal. I didn't listen to the entire 5 hours, mind you, but it was like I kept checking in, and they were still trying to get it back to where they wanted it. Once they got it, they just, all right, well, hey, you know what? It's been a long run. All right, we're good. Doop, ended the show.
Yep.
You know, it's just like it was, and the thing was, they were just begging people to just come on, we gotta get it up. We gotta get it up. We gotta get it up. And you just saw it. Just crip.
Yep. That's the thing that I never understood about scammers. Well, I get it. They're lazy, and for very minimal work, they can get $5,000, $10,000. I get it. But to me, I'm like, God, this seems so fucking exhausting. Why don't you just come up with something good and get rewarded based on how good it is, as opposed to trying to scam people out of their money and blah, blah, blah. I mean, that's the one beautiful thing. I mean, I think that's the best thing about what we have going on, besides like the other founders and the community that we have. We police ourselves.
Yeah, definitely.
Jake isn't tweeting like, hey, fuck that guy over here and fuck that guy over there and watch out for this guy over here and this guy's a scumbag and blah. He has to say that zero. He doesn't have to say that. We police ourselves and we all get along. Everyone pretty much for the most part loves each other.
Yeah, huge.
Which is also, I mean, it almost sounds kind of like hippie kumbaya-ish, but at the same time, it's like, haven't you been looking for that and searching for that?
Yeah, I'm down with the hippie theme and the kumbaya. I mean,
hey, no, you know what? It's way better than what the hell else is out there. Because what else is out there is an absolute war zone.
Yeah, and it's not. I mean,
just people stealing money from one another.
Bro, people stealing from one another. Yeah.
Look at the pump fund shit. I mean, look at the statistics of that. I mean, the people that actually make money are like next to zero, and then you see
the scammers.
Exactly. And then you see people posting like their profit and losses. I mean, they're not real. They're just
right. Like, dude,
like I made $1 million this week on a meme coin. Like I put in 120 bucks. Yeah. Now you're a millionaire and a huge influencer. Sure.
I just checked it out. You have $14 in liquidity. So I'm going to go ahead and call bullshit.
Yeah.
Brett's up to 1.65 billion market cap right now.
Yeah. We got into it when it was at like, I mean, it went up fast, bro. It went up fast. I think we were in it when it was like 500 million ish. And then it kind of went 500 million to like $1 billion, then back down, then back up. It kind of did this for the past like 8 months, 9 months. And now Base is having their little resurgence now.
Yeah, I don't see Brett going away anytime soon.
No, it won't. It won't. I just laugh because I'm like,
if you know what's going on behind the door,
I made more money LPing than just buying it and holding it, which is
sick,
ass backwards.
Yep.
And I would never recommend anyone to do that, by the way. Definitely not financial advice at all. But, you know, that's one of the things that we want to bring to when we launch Warp. Something very, very important that we want people to understand is that the guys that are launching this, I mean, we are heavy in the liquidity providing game. We understand liquidity. We understand markets. We understand market psychology. So these are some things to think about, you know, when you're like, oh, I don't really know these Warp guys. Been on plenty of streams. We're going to be on even more when it comes down to, you know, once we're going to audits, we'll be everywhere. We'll be screaming from the rooftops just like we're supposed to. But I have in the Titans of LP channel, go in there. I have videos on how to set a Uniswap V3 1% position, all the way from basics to advanced. Like I've never gone to Uniswap before. Cool. I got a video for you. All the way to, okay, I know how to do liquidity positions. How can I make a defensive strategy? How can I make an aggressive strategy? How can I how do I provide liquidity in a sideways trading market. I have videos for all this stuff. It's all free. And I want to say a couple months ago, I don't now, because once we announced that we're launching Warp, I stopped, but I was doing free one-on-one one-on-one sessions with people, as long as they could match up to my time, because normally I'm okay to do streams and stuff like late at night because I got a family and all this stuff. Today happened to be one of those days where everyone's out of the house. But yeah, so I did like probably 20 or 30 one-on-ones with different people from all over the world. Most of them are from England.
To help me out to refine my skills a little bit. I know I could use some work with it. I'd
get on a call with you guys, no problem. But I don't announce it to the public anymore, like free. Just because I'm a founder, so I don't want there to be any kind of like impropriety. You know what I mean? Because not that I would tell you to do it, but I could very easily just be like, yeah, go into Warp, dude. LP on Warp, only use Warp.
You know, and none of this is financial advice by any means.
So. Right. And I don't want anyone to think that. That's why I kind of kibosh that. But there was a long run there where people were just like, hey, man, I had people that were like, I have $5,000. I had people that were like, I have a couple hundo, you know, what's the best strategy to do here? And I was able to help them out. And this is important for other people to know. I want people in the TitanX community to know that there are a lot more people than you think with a lot of money. Yeah. They're just quiet. The ones that are the ones that are doing this, those are the guys that want to have a lot of money. But the guys that are in your Telegram groups that you never see talking ever, those are the guys you got to watch out for. Because in the Titans of LP group, I mean, Shrey, everyone knows Shrey. Shrey's in it. He's a friend of the channel. This guy could buy and sell pretty much damn near anyone in TitanX, damn near by himself. This guy's just an absolute monster. And me and Nathan were joking around. We're going to start a podcast, like an LP podcast, right? And that's something that is true. We want to kind of do something like that.
That'd be great.
Nothing necessarily to do with Warp. It would be mostly like just an LP kind of thing, kind of like
in general.
Yeah, kind of like what you guys have going on here, but more of like an LP thing. And he was like, yeah, for our first segment, we can invite Shrey on and be like, you know, if I had $500,000 of play money, what would be a good what would be a recommended play?
Yeah, right.
But yeah, so it's very important for people to know that we have a lot of people that are good people with a ton of money that want to see this succeed, and they will do anything in their power to help make TitanX succeed. So all the people that are looking at the charts and they're poo-pooing, I mean, not now, who's poo-pooing now, but anyone who's looking at a chart on a red day, you know, just have solace in knowing that this isn't a bunch of like 18-year-olds with like $300 that are in this ecosystem.
No,
a lot of people have a lot of money.
Big money, yeah.
Big money.
Yeah.
Big time.
It's really interesting seeing the distribution across the protocols as well, because, you know, you can't just look at the TitanX distribution and say, okay, that's it. I mean, you can look at the liquidity pools there and get an idea, but there's guys in other protocols that are, you know, got their money tucked away in TitanX, they got their money tucked away in Full, et cetera, et cetera. And needless to say, there's some freaking whales out there, and they want to see this thing succeed. But again, like you said, they're not the people that are noisy about it. They're always the people that are kind of in the shadows, or you wouldn't expect it. And it's amazing when you actually get in touch with a true real life whale.
Yeah. And I did, and I have, and I can tell you,
same, bro.
it's like, dude, I've never heard of you. I've never seen you.
Yep.
Like, they don't post on X. Nope. They don't post on, you know, blah, blah, blah. But what I can say is there's a reason why these guys are whales, right? There's a reason why these guys are whales. And if you look and see on chain, you can follow what the whales are buying. That could give you a good indication of, you know, what's to come. I mean, the other day there was like someone was chipping in $200,000 into TitanX the other day.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, people are watching this, and I mean, I think the whole idea with TitanX too is that we're fueling a demand-based economy, right? Because what is TitanX without demand? And all these build on TitanX projects are all designed to create demand within TitanX, right? I mean, we saw what happened when Volt launched. I think that was a really, really good example. I mean, we're just breaching all-time highs, or local all-time highs, I should say, with TitanX. There's a lot of economic energy moving around. You know, even the projects that launch after Volt got like a good chunk of, you know, people kind of rotating, et cetera. And it's really powerful, the idea of building demand through TitanX. You know, like X28 is going to be a huge factor in that. You know, X28 is kind of the heart burning mechanism that's happening right now. And by building on X28, I mean, Ted and I are doing it. Like, we're taking everything, we're just funneling it right through, burning the shit out of TitanX. Taurus is going to be doing it. There's bunch of other protocols launching on X28 as well. And it's just so important that, you know, we're not only reaching out to the inner communities, but we're reaching out to those outer communities as well. So I think it's really smart that you guys are accepting ETH as an input, for instance, right? Like, we're bringing more ETH into our economy. Yeah, because I'm excited to see these things start to unfold, because right now we're just in a pressure cooker.
Dude, we're in a pressure cooker right now. And the reason why we wanted to go with ETH, we definitely wanted ETH. And then the reason why we pulled in Tink is because gas, when we started this, right before we started streaming today, gas was at 50 Gwei, right? And I was like, and I had said something to Nathan. I'm like, God, of course gas goes up high when Big Mike Stud is about to launch his, you know, his thing. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me right now with this Gwei price? And but that's really honestly one of the reasons why we wanted to utilize the coins that we chose, because we feel like plenty of people have big bags of each of these coins. We don't want you to have to
swap into one and then
start swapping, and we don't want you to lose money. The other cool thing is, well, I think it's cool, is that we will be able to, for the user, the fee that the user gets when they call the buy and burn, we're going to be able to turn that up and down. Yep. So like if gas is like stupid,
you have to
and
adjust it.
We're going to be able to adjust it so that, because we don't want anyone to hit our buy and burn and lose money. You know, we want you to be able to at least make a couple bucks or whatever that looks like, but we don't want you to lose money, because no one's going to hit the buy and burn, right?
Of course, yeah, that's important, man.
So
how many buy and burns do you have in Warp?
It's nothing crazy. I mean, we're going to have like the buy and burns is going to be like 3 buy and burns. Those are the main ones.
Yep.
And then we're going to have some user called functions for compounding back into our Tink farm.
That's a good idea.
And then another one for nuking the Tink fees, burning the Tink fees.
Is there a reward built into that?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Nice.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. Just like everything else. And it'll be pretty cool, because we'll be able to have like, you know, Tink burn party streams or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Like,
absolutely.
You know, and or like when the Tink auction opens, you know, we'll stream for like, you know, all right, DGen Tink stream, here we go. You know what I mean? Or something like that. We can have fun with it. And that's the whole point here, is it's got something for everyone, right?
And four main liquidity pools: ETH, X28, Hyper, and Tink.
Yeah, and here's the other important thing, is that we're going to be creating a bunch of liquidity pools. So, you know, if Warp is extremely successful, that'll be because of us. If it's not successful, that'll be because of us. What we don't want to have happen is all of our stuff routing through the main liquidity pools and dragging price down.
Yeah.
So we're starting all of our own liquidity pools. All of the stuff is going to be routing through our liquidity pools. So the worst thing that happens is Warp, you know, sayonara, didn't work out, but nothing else will be harmed in the process. Yeah. No animals were harmed in the making of this movie. Right.
Yeah,
and that's
smart,
one thing. That's one thing that we really want to, you know, we kind of get away from saying that on stream, but it is very important to know that we are creating our own liquidity pools. The buying and burning will be routing through said liquidity pools. So, there won't be anything weird. You won't see anything weird on like the Hyper deck screener. Be like, wait, what the hell? What's going on here? Why is Warp selling the shit out of Hyper? There's going to be none of that. You don't have to worry about that. It's all going to be on ours.
It's an interesting point that you bring up because, with TitanX, like we've been building very vertically, right? And you have to be really careful about like those liquidity cascade events, right? So
yes,
if there's a major sell-off in one token that's built on top of another, well, then it's going to sell down the other token as well. So
correct.
I think that's a really smart strategy. And I've seen so many people in like Telegram chats are like, oh, why don't you just pair with this token? Or why don't you just pair with that token? Well, there's a lot of reasons that you want to be paired with the main thing, essentially.
Yeah.
Like in this case, TitanX, X28. Mm-hmm. And obviously you have quite a few other pairs, but if one of those, if at that point, what you're doing is you're kind of distributing that sell pressure if there was going to ever be a cascade.
Exactly.
Versus 100. Just taking, like if you have one token and then you have another token built on top of it and that performs the token that it's built on top of, well, when people start to sell this one, it's going to hurt this token as well. So you have to be so careful. You can't just like pair whatever the fuck with whatever the fuck.
Right.
Like, it's
You're 100% right.
It's important to, if you're going to do that, distribute it across many pairs. Right.
And we figure with using X28 as now we originally were going to do TitanX as an input, and then Jake launched X28. So we very quickly pivoted. Like we'd rather use X28 as input because we know, and the understanding is to get X28, you're going to have like TitanX is getting burned to get that X28.
Mm-hmm.
So we have comfort in knowing that the people participating with their X28 tokens, I mean, they had to nuke some TitanX to get it. Some TitanX was nuked in order for them to participate in our project, not necessarily because of us, but that's cool.
It's these loops,
it's cool to think about.
Yeah.
So Jake had mentioned when X28 launched, he had mentioned everyone needs to focus on building on X28 now. And in my head, I was like, oh no.
Here we go. Got to redesign this.
Shit. How hard is this?
Small change.
But our devs were like, yeah, we got it. No problem. I'm like,
nice.
Really? Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Thanks. I appreciate that. But so it was a very easy transition. That's why the other thing is like, we're not rushing this project out. Originally, we were looking at launching like early December.
Yeah, I remember that.
But then the whole X28 thing, that whole thing happened. We had to pivot, and we were like, you know what? We're going to pump the brakes. There's a lot of stuff coming out, and we want to be able to give some of these guys some breathing room instead of just something comes out every day. A protocol's coming out. It's like, let's give these guys a breathing room. And Mike, who's coming out today, Mike is built on Hyper. He's part of the family. So it's like, I want to give this guy as much room for success as possible.
100%. Yeah. He's got a long auction too.
Right. So it's like, let's give this guy some breathing room and let the people that are in Hyper right now, they're like yearning to get into something. Let them go into Turbo. Let them go into Mike Dean's thing. Let them kick ass with that. And then, we're probably looking at like end of December is a stretch. This is more like this is a January thing.
Yeah.
We're looking at sometime in January, probably for sure. By that time, okay, cool. They've had their success. They've established themselves. They've got a great foundation. Cool. Throw another one in. More Hyper being burned. Oh yeah, we're also doing this cool thing with Tinky over here.
I love it, man. Yeah, I think the ease of accessibility for people to get in with multiple input tokens is really important. And it's cool how you have it set up with the 4 different auctions. There's a lot of opportunity there. And I think it creates a level of stickiness, right? That people are going to, you want somebody to pull out their phone in the middle of dinner to be checking their ROIs. You know what I mean? Like that's when like you built something that people like and can interact with and stay tuned with. I think that's really important. What we did with Mizuki is that we did an ETH, TitanX, and X28 input. So we're kind of running it that way. ETH
multiple inputs, right? Multiple
exactly.
inputs, right?
And it's all just one button. So you don't have to go to X28 website. Basically, if you enter in with ETH, it'll buy TitanX. TitanX will convert to X28.
Does the work for you.
Beautiful.
Yeah. It's
Same thing with
thing,
TitanX. Just converts over to X28, burns half of the TitanX.
Boom.
And people can get in. Boom. And now if you already have X28, well, you don't have to swap back to TitanX. You can just enter in with that. So like you said, with given all these protocols, breathing room, it's a really good point. You know, we got Shogun that's doing its thing right now. That's going to be, the minting's going to be over. The fun begins, right? And then, you know, hopefully by the time that we're looking to launch, whenever that may be, you know, I want to say January at this point, but basically, you know, what would be a good scenario for us is that, you know, people are starting to kind of, the momentum is kind of shifting a little bit and moving into other protocols and things are getting distributed out. So it's gonna be really interesting to see how it unfolds. Yeah.
And you guys chose the inputs. It was a great choice.
Yeah. I agree with that 100%.
Because all these guys are, you know, TitanX, largest holders. That's what you're in. TitanX, X28, you know, ETH. Right.
That was our concept from the beginning, was to be a core TitanX project, and we were just gonna just focus on TitanX. And then X28 came out, and we were like, "Oh shit, we really need to rethink this."
Same. I was like, "God, and then we were, oh, dude, do we nuke like Tank for Shogun or something?" We're like, no. We got to keep the degen auction Tank.
That's a pretty sick idea, and I like how you have the auction claimability spread out as well, which I think is really smart.
Yes.
We're doing something a little similar, more similar to Mike Dean. So we start with like an 8-day mint, like a straight mint 1-to-1, and then switch over into perpetual auctions. And basically there's like if you enter in the auction in the last hour, you have to wait an extra hour to claim your token. So it's not as aggressive as what you guys are doing, but it's smart,
it gives your protocol room to breathe.
Right. You're not giving the ROI to the bots.
That's 100% right, dude. Let them try. Hey, if you're a bot or you want to play that game, go for it. You can get in. Bots don't read the white paper, do they? No. You deploy a bot. I've deployed bots before. I know exactly how this game works. You deploy your bot and it just does exactly what it is told.
Yep.
Unless you're copying and pasting the white paper into the damn code for this bot, it's not going to know, oh, there's a wait, shit. So yeah, you just bought at the last second, right? And now you got to wait. Now you got to wait your turn, homie.
Yep.
And I think what'll be interesting is to see, at least for us, one of the interesting things is like, you know, with all the auctions that are coming out now, what you're seeing for the most part is everyone just sits around and waits for the last hour to see when the ROI is, and then they all hop in, right? Knowing that it's going to go down, but it's like, maybe there's a chance I get some of that ROI. Well, for us, it's going to be interesting to see if the participation is loaded on the front end, on the front half of the day, because, you know, now people are going to know, you know, I can't wait that last hour. And do you want to wait that last hour? That's the other thing. Do you want to wait that last hour to get into that auction, knowing that you're not going to be able to claim it in 12 hours?
Yeah, it just enhances the game theory just that much, you know. And again, it gives, if there is an ROI to be made there, it gives it to the user, which I think is important, right?
Right.
I mean, everybody's entitled to make money, however, by however means necessary when they're interacting with the protocol. So if they figured out something that works, keep doing it.
Right. But give them multiple options to win, as opposed to, you know, and again, with Tink, bro, 100% degen as much as you want with that, you know, get in last second, go ahead, do whatever you want to do. But the option is there for you to do that. If that's the game you want to play, you want to try to do the nuke and compound back in game. We've seen success with that. With some other protocols. I think Volt for the first couple days Volt was out. that worked until it didn't, right? Until it just went
filled up real quick.
Yeah, man. People were like, "Oh, dude."
Up.
Yeah, I think I did like a 9x in like 9 or 10 days with Volt, dude.
Yeah, I did.
Wow.
It was something silly.
I did a 10x against TitanX, and like I think it was like almost a 20 or 25x against USD. I got my entries in real nice on Volt. I was pumped on that.
Bro, I think it was like, what was it? First or second day was like 93% ROI. I forget what day, or was that Viper? That might be Viper that I'm thinking of, but
Viper.
one of them, I think it was Viper. It was like day 1 or day 2. I forget which one it was. Had a 93% ROI.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't know because I don't look to sell anyway. I don't care what the ROI is because you go in with the assumption that it's going to be 0. That's the assumption.
Yeah, and the idea
if you go in with the assumption that it's going to be 0, that way you don't get all poo-pooey when you're like, oh, I didn't get 500% ROI like it said on the DAP when I went in at that second, at that time, at that day.
Well, of course not.
Right. Well, you know how it is, Ted. There's going to be people that are going to be like, oh, this is the worst thing ever. I hate auctions, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, dude, would you rather mine for 240 days again? Is that what you want to do?
Yeah, sure.
Right. We're in the bull run, boys. It's coming. It's here. Like, get your shit and let's go. Like, let's get it.
Yeah, auctions are amazing too. The way that they work and being able to distribute the supply as fairly as possible. I mean, when I'm looking at an auction, I'm looking more at the participation than anything, right? So on getting in on low participation days, that's when you get the most supply.
Oh, Flux, Blaze, Flux.
It's huge.
Flux,
yeah. You got
Inferno when Inferno was doing its thing.
Oh, Inferno was an interesting one too. I did really well compound in that, and
yep.
It was an interesting element just having the weekly mint. I mean, nobody had ever really done that. I've never seen a protocol do that. I don't know if you guys remember. Well, you guys definitely remember King X. They were talking about doing that. That was a big. Do you guys remember that?
I remember hearing the name.
They rebranded to Heroes, right?
Yeah, dude.
Oh, is that one? Okay.
Yeah,
I think
I remember hearing about it, but I was so basic in TitanX. Like I didn't like do streams. I wasn't a very loud voice.
Look at you now.
Yeah,
dude.
I got my black hoodie and black hat on. I'm ready. Let's go. Let's go. Look at me now. Yeah, I was so basic back in the day. Just kind of like, oh, I'm gonna put a X post out like, hey, TitanX is great, guys. Thumbs up.
Don't look at me.
Yeah, shit. Yeah, you get some pulse chain guy. It's like, you suck. Like, oh,
I'm
don't hate me.
I'm totally down.
Yeah, it's interesting as a builder getting out there for the first time. Like how was that experience for you? It seems like you were more in the pockets previous.
Yeah, so what really helped was that we got our start with Titans of LP.
Yes.
And I forget who it was.
You already had a fan club.
We had a decent fan club, but I think it was Jake or maybe Rain Man. The Blaze guys. The Blaze guys. Rain Man, Rain Man, Utah, Allie Kane, and Bad Sports. Those guys really were the ones that put us on the map. We owe a lot to those guys because early on, back before Inferno came out, these guys were like, hey, I want to give a shout out to the Titans of LP. These guys have a pretty cool channel where they teach for free. They're teaching how to do liquidity in TitanX, right? 98% of everything that gets talked about in Titans of LP is TitanX. Mm-hmm. Every once in a while, someone will come out and be like, hey, Nathan and Johnny, can you take a look at this coin on base or whatever and tell me if it's a good idea or whatever? We'll take a look at it and we'll let them know truthfully. Like, is that something that I would put money into? But that's like, we'll get like one of those every 3 or 4 weeks. We'll get someone that asks that. It's all TitanX, and that's the whole point of it. So they gave us a couple shout outs on their streams, and then what ended up happening, we had 30 people in our Telegram. Okay. Like after like a couple of their streams, like shouting us from the rooftops, we grew to like 250, 300, like that. And then Jake.
Seriously, rooftops?
From the rooftops, buddy.
Dude, that's fucking cool, man. That's like so fucking killer.
and then from there, Jake and Eric. Eric gave us a really good shout out. That every time Eric and Jake like mention your name, like you're gonna get participation regardless. So Jake mentioned our name a couple times, and then next thing you know, we were at like 400, 500 very, very quickly, and it was because of that. It was because they were helping blast our names, and then we started getting a lot more active on X when back when Eric put out his call to action, like, "Hey guys, everyone's too fucking lazy.
Everybody's gotta work.
start fucking clicking, motherfuckers." So we were like, all right, we got to do some work here. So when that happened, that's really when we made our huge push as the Titans of LP to like go on streams and talk about what we have going on. So when it finally came to like talk about Warp, it was actually a pretty easy progression for us. And plus I'm in sales and Nathan's in sales also. Nathan is actually like super secret time. Nathan's like pretty high level in this company. Don't tell him I told you that. Like he's actually like important. I'm a sales guy, right? Like they could just come up to me and be like, your job's nuked. Your job's nuked. Nathan,
he's a dad.
Nathan, we're both dads. I got two girls. He's got a girl and a boy. He's got a girl and a boy. Family guys. Obviously, that always comes first. Unfortunately for the streaming community, that always comes first.
It has to. It has to.
You get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, exactly. Johnny, you want to hear something crazy? When
I do.
Rudy and I first started talking, and this is a protocol I don't hear talked about much, and I want to bring it up. But originally, I proposed to Rudy that I wanted to build on Hydra.
Okay.
So that's one thing that maybe I'm mistaken, or correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't hear a whole lot about Hydra whatsoever.
No, and you won't until it gets like one little monthly green candle.
Right.
Once Hydra gets its like monthly green candle that's like, a little bit bigger than just like a little nubby.
Yep, yeah.
Once it gets its first little monthly green candle, that's when you'll start hearing people talk about it. But if you're looking to buy something, that's usually not the greatest time to buy. You want to buy when the price is depressed, when everyone's like, this was the worst idea ever. Fuck you for coming out with this idea.
You saw what I sent you last night.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It'll happen.
Hydra jumped. Who nuked that? Who nuked that 88-day miner? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that hurt.
Right. Yeah. So it's like we've already seen this happen. We've already seen like the game it's been written on the wall. Now, you just gotta wait. This is the hardest part for most people.
Yeah,
is just sitting on their hands, not getting emotional because maybe Pulse Chain or maybe there's something stupid on Base or Solana that's going up.
Yep.
You can't have like candle envy in this game. You will not make it.
And I kind of wanted to bring that up because a lot of people just recently claimed their 88-day miner, me being one of them.
Oh, I claimed it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so on. And so it's like, okay. But, it's just, I just wanted to bring that up because, it's not exactly something that you look at and you have a big smile on your face right now. But in time, yes, definitely. And I just wanted to, I guess, present a reminder to let people know that, if you did claim an 88-day miner and it wasn't the greatest and you're looking at the chart, it's not exactly something to be super excited about, but patience is the key.
But you're up 40% today than you were the day you claimed it.
Exactly.
If you held it. If you held it.
Yeah, exactly.
If you didn't let us hands it, that's fine. And that's fine. If you want to,
hold for 88 days and then just let us hand it. Yeah.
and then one day later, 40% up. You're like, yeah, fuck. Like, bro, that's how the game is played.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're right.
It took me 2 cycles to get my shit together and learn you are not better than the market. You're not smarter than the market. You will not be able to out trade the market. Out of 100 people, two people might make it trading, and they're only going to make it from now until a year from now. That's it. That's when they make it.
Yeah, they got a short window of opportunity.
You might have 3 people that come out 10%, that do 10% in a year. Okay, you might as well just put your damn money in, S&P 500, if that's what you're chasing is 10%, how many trades, how many taxable events did you just incur to do that? How much money did you pay in gas every single trade? Like, that's not where it's at. Mm-hmm. Where it's at is the most boring and simple thing, which is you just buy it, you hold it for the cycle, and then you can go ahead and sell, right? But the people that are chasing, they'll get into something, they'll nuke that whole position to go into something else. See, there's a difference between taking profit. Mm-hmm. There's a difference here. I'm not saying don't take profit. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is if you put in $2,000 into something, don't necessarily just keep nuking that and going into something else. Because right there and there, that $2,000 is not going to be $2,000 in whatever you get into right away because of gas, because of slippage, because of all that stuff. You're taking a 3 to 5% hit, 3 to 5% every single trade you do, whether you realize it or not, because there's gas plus slippage.
I think we've all been victims of overtrading.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely. It took me, like I said, it took me almost 8 years to figure out, like, hey, you're not that guy.
Yeah.
You're not that guy. And I'm okay with not being that guy. I do not claim to be.
I figured that out the hard way as well, my man.
But guess what? Guess what? Since I've gotten into TitanX, I've done very well for myself, not hitting sell.
Didn't you get a refrigerator?
Oh yeah, no, well, not a dishwasher. So, yeah,
dishwasher.
I was telling Ted back in our DGen base LPing days, we were making so much money. My dishwasher had nuked on me, and my wife was like freaking out. I was like, I'll just buy one. Let me turn the money printer on. She calls it the money printer whenever I LP. She's like, because that's what it is, right? It's literally like your own money printer. You're your own bank. So it's like, all right, it's like, well, shit, we made definitely enough to get a dishwasher today. So here's your, $1,000 or $1,200, whatever it cost.
Yeah.
And we got a dishwasher because of LPing in fees that I made in one day. Honestly. And it wasn't, and it wasn't because I had $500,000 I was LPing with. That was off like a $5,000 LP position.
That's a great point. Like, I heard Jake say something recently about basically like treating crypto as just-in-time liquidity, right? Like, if you need something, like, you can sell a little crypto and get what you need, but don't sell your whole bag.
No, man.
That is death,
No, it's death. It's death by 1,000 cuts.
And for me, what I've found that I like to do, because there is some downtime, right? Like if you said, it can be boring just buying something and just leaving it there. I like to build shit, like these projects and stuff that I have going on. Like this is where
it takes up a lot of your time.
This is where I outlet my energy, right? The energy that I want to put into crypto. Well, instead of trying to like move around and find the next best meme coin or something, I'm just buckled down building cool shit, like stuff.
And if you put that much energy into it, and you're out there, and you're following the ethos, and people know who you are, and that it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be an awesome product, and
absolutely.
I definitely would encourage a lot of people that think like that have all this pent up energy. If you're doing crypto, bro, I'm doing crypto 12 to 15 hours a day. Legit. When I say doing crypto, I mean doing something.
Yeah,
right. Exactly. Talking to you guys, going on streams, like managing the Jesus Christ, Telegram's the worst. Whoever, that guy, that Russian dude that invented Telegram, he's got like a team of only like 13 people or 30 people or whatever, which is crazy to think about. But, God bless him and damn him at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
Because Telegram is such an absolute time suck.
Yep.
And then you'll get wrapped into these meaningless arguments. It's like, it's like arguing with my kid. My kid's 5. and I'm like, why am I arguing with you right now? I already know that I'm not going to persuade you into my way of thinking. And it's like, I'm arguing with kids. I don't care how old you are. If you're on Telegram arguing, you're a damn kid. And just, maybe take that energy somewhere else.
I don't have time for that.
No one has time. Now, if someone like argues with me, I just ignore it. And then they get pissed off because I don't respond. So then they're in my DMs like, why did you respond to me, bro? I'm like, how did you get to DM me? I thought I had my security settings on properly.
Speaking of Telegram,
yes.
Speaking of Telegram, yes, I believe it was yesterday. Started a new Telegram channel for the TitanX Lounge.
Oh yeah, I'm in there, bud.
Yeah, I saw that, and I appreciate the love. It's all good. And,
it's great. It's like this, but like typing. It's like the
yeah,
same thing.
And it's
just like chilling. That's it.
Yeah, it's
365, just a collab spot, just to go in and put ideas, share thoughts, ideas, whatever. It's just
not a whining spot,
different.
though. Don't come in there and try whining.
No, exactly.
Like, no, man. You come in the lounge and you gotta complain. I don't know what you're gonna complain about.
We need good energy. Good energy. And honestly, that's most of it.
It's just it's just mutual respect. Like there's ways to like present a point without being a fucking dick, right? Or there's a way to present something without it just being interpreted as FUD. Like people don't think about, I don't know. I'm really like careful about this, but like the way that I type something or say something, like I try to be so careful because things can get misconstrued, etc. But yeah, I mean, we wanted to make the TitanX Lounge just a place so that people can go and just be nonchalant, like just hang out like we're doing right now, just talk about things. Like if there's sensitive subjects, fine, but just respect each other. That's it. Simple.
Dude, I'm gonna tell you right now, if you want an amazing mod, Nathan, put him, make him a mod, because
I'll do it right now.
Just like do it. He's gonna hate me. He's gonna hate me for saying this. He hates
just
it when
assign
I say
it to him and then tell him I'll pay him in a tink.
Dude, I'm gonna tell you right now, this guy has the patience literally of a monk, and his name is Mindless Monk on Telegram at Mindless Monk.
Oh yeah,
but he is the exact opposite of me. So we're like yin and yang. So me,
that's a good thing though.
I'm an awful mod. I don't want to say I'm awful. I just don't have time for the bullshit, and I don't care to hear your side of the story. If you come in like hyper aggressive, if you're coming in aggressive, like someone came in, I'm a mod in Vault. I think it's the only channel I'm a mod in, right? Someone came in there a couple weeks ago, and I don't even know if Steve saw this. I hope he didn't, because it was very, very aggressive, and I wouldn't want to see that. Someone coming at me like this, but someone came in there and said something like along the lines of, you better watch yourself because a lot of people put a lot of money in this protocol. If you come in to any channel that I'm a mod in, well, I'm only a mod in Vault, so stay the fuck away from Vault if you're going to talk like that. Because I was just like, ban. Dumb. And what ends up happening, let's remind everybody, if you get banned in the Vault chat, that means you get banned in the Viper chat, you get banned in the Turbo chat. Anything that Steve does, you're banned in, because he has one chat. So you better watch what you say. You could make a point without having to be aggressive. And then the very next thing I said was, does anyone else have anything cute to say? Bro, no one talked for like half an hour. No one said shit for half an hour.
That's good. Hey, you know what?
Like nothing, not even like hello. Like there was like no talking for 30 minutes.
And it was like the bar there for,
collect your thoughts and just understand. I don't care. I don't care if you're whiny and you want to get back in and don't come asking me to bring you back. If I ban you, I'm not bringing you back. Someone else might be able to, but it's not going to be me. And I very rarely have to ban people, right? I think I've banned 3 people in my whole life. But Nathan, holy shit, this guy is like a psychiatrist. He'll be like, tell me how that makes you feel.
Dude,
and by the end, he will turn you into an absolute homer of whatever you're complaining about. He will turn you around, and you will be like, the next thing you know is this guy is the one championing, like it happened in Hyper, TitanX, like all the ones that he's a mod in. If you look at some of the guys that are like all about it now, they started off by being extreme FUD. And then Nathan just has a way of like calming you down and without like getting arguing or defensive. Not me, dude. I'll put the gloves on and I'll smack you in the face. I don't give a shit.
Dude,
that's so good.
So if anyone's looking for that kind of a mod, I'm your guy. I don't give
the bad hammer.
Bad hammer, dude. Absolutely. Absolutely. Bouja's a good time too. I don't know if he's in any of your, if you know who he is.
Yeah, I know who he is. Yep.
Oh, dude, you get him to mod, he will clean shit up. And he lives across them earth. So when you guys are sleeping, like that's when he's in there making sure. Yeah, so we definitely have him as a mod because he's kind of like I am. He's a little bit less intense. He'll at least give you an opportunity to explain yourself, but yeah, he'll keep it clean for you too. 100%. Love that dude.
Love it.
That is so cool. I can just see Nathan, you know, he's like,
oh dude, he is bro. There was a guy in the hyper chat that was just piling on. Nathan finally gets in there. Next thing you know, this guy he's kind of flipped the way that he goes about saying his point. And then he comes and joins the Warp Telegram, and he's like a big supporter of Warp now. But that was because Nathan gave him time and gave him, you know, let him explain himself and just get the emotions off his chest. And then, you know, now he's one of the biggest supporters of both Hyper and Warp.
That's so cool.
Happens all the time, though.
No, I like Nathan from the start, man. Just when the first time I streamed with him, I was like, this dude's pretty chill, man. And he's just funny. I think he's hilarious. He's got a funny sense of humor.
I'm pretty sure someone's going to have to fact check me here, but I'm pretty sure I remember him telling me he lived in Japan for quite a while and studied with actual Buddhist monks.
I thought I heard something that he was somewhere as well, but I can't exactly say.
I'm pretty sure that's the story. Yeah, Utah, I'm with you, bud. Axeman. That's right. Well, you know, we got kids, we got families, we got shit to do. We've already heard whining our whole life, you know, with these little nuggets and rugrats. It's like, dude, I already have to deal with that at home. I'm not trying to deal with that with my fake internet money friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
And it's like, you know, at some point that the people whining and complaining now are going to be the OGs in the next cycle, right? They're going to be the ones that aren't whining and complaining because everyone has to go through this progression of just, what the hell did I put my money in? I'm stupid. The founder is dumb. I don't like the way that he shaved his beard today. You know, woe is me, red candles. Those are the people that haven't lived through a bull market yet. Once you actually live through a bull market and you get to experience just a little tiny bit of that euphoria that you're going to get, I mean, you're going to start talking to people and asking to move in with them and like sleepovers. Like, when like you're drunk at a party, you're like, dude, we're gonna build a business together. Fuck yeah. Then you wake up, you're like, that was the beer talking. I'm definitely not opening up a Papa John's and fucking Minot, North Dakota with you. You know,
I love you, man.
I love you, man. We're about to get there. We are about to get there. And you think it's kumbaya now. I mean, you guys know. I'm not telling you nothing, but like I really wish that more people would understand what's about to come. I think that everyone's still kind of on pins and needles. They don't really know. They've heard about this crazy bull market. It's not our turn yet. It's not our turn yet. These things happen in mini cycles, right? Bitcoin, ETH, alts, Bitcoin, ETH, alts. It happens every time. This is how it works. It's just like we had our time. Day 280, we had 3 green monthly candles that put us from here to here. In 3 months, it was just this for 3 months. Okay, when you do that, there's going to be a significant cool-off period.
Yep.
We're going to get our time again. We just have to wait our turn.
Yep.
And that's the hardest thing for people, I think, is being able to just buy something and sit on it.
Yeah, there was an energy loss that kind of it swept in, and
because the dopamine got cut off.
Yeah, and the thing is, though, I'm getting a sense that it's starting to revitalize a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
I'm starting to see
75% up will do that. For sure.
I'm starting to see faces that I haven't seen in a while, like months, are starting to pop back in. So that's good. I mean, and the armies, they got their nap and they got their chow, so they're ready to go back at it. So let's do it. I mean, that's what it's going to take.
Yeah,
it's all a matter of time, man. We haven't even seen Bitcoin dominance drop yet.
Right. Once so many things that have to happen here that people that have never been in crypto, or this is their first cycle, maybe they don't really quite understand the market cycle, how it works. I don't know if Jake has his old streams on his YouTube channel, his old ones from like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. But I would highly recommend, if they are up there, to watch them, because he goes in depth really well about market cycles and how they work. And he was one of the first people to kind of shed light for me. And then I dug in more. I did my due diligence. I did my research. And, you learn very quickly that, oh, yes, this happens in cycles. Every 4 years, the cycle happens a very specific way. We are following the cycle to the T right now.
Yeah, truly. Have you guys started having people pop out of the woodwork in real life and ask you about your magic internet money?
My gas station attendant. Funny.
Yeah, you keep talking about that, dude.
I love this guy. I love this guy, bro. It's a gas station called Ratty Daddy's. It's badass. It's right down the street from me. This guy's from like Jordan. Okay. And his dad's awesome. Him and his dad, they run it. And I had told him months ago, I gave him a sheet of paper, and I'm like, because he knows that I'm in it. I talk about it all the time. We know each other. He knows my wife. We know everybody. We know each other.
Yeah.
It's a mile down the road. So I'm in there 2 times a day, and I'm always talking about crypto, right? I'm not trying to sell him on anything. I'm just telling him, hey, look, man, I'll go in there and I'll give him a brief little 2-minute, 3-minute overview on the market. Just, this is what's going on. This is what's going on. This is where we're at in the market. Well, I went in there the other day, and he's like, you're probably doing really good right now because Bitcoin's really high. I'm like, I'm doing all right. And he's like, I asked him, I'm like, did you ever take a look at the things that I gave you? He's like, dude, I don't know how to get a wallet. I don't know how to do any of that shit. I was like, would you like me to teach you? I will come to your house and I will onboard you very specifically. And he's like, yeah. He's like, you do that? I'm like, I don't give a shit. Like I'll do what I got to do, to get people into our ecosystem, because the last thing I want to do is onboard them and be like, hey, go chase this fucking meme on Sol. Good luck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
But if you can onboard, what I think really is impactful is if you can show them what's going on in crypto, right? Why crypto has a bad name for a lot of people. And then you show them what we have going on over here and how it's the exact opposite. Because I told him, I'm like, dude, everything on TitanX is audited. He's like, what does that mean? I was like, Jesus Christ. I was like, do you know what an audit is in real life? He's like, yeah. I'm like, it's the same thing, but the code gets audited to make sure that I can't just nuke I can't just nuke the liquidity, or I can't just nuke this, or it's not a honeypot or blah blah. Then I had to tell him what a honeypot was. God damn it! I'm like going through all these things, and but yeah, I'm getting a lot of people. I got people from my work that are no coiners that'll just see that Bitcoin's up. They automatically assume because I say the word crypto that I mean Bitcoin. I had someone ask me about XRP.
Yeah, me too.
And I was like, look, dude. I was like, these poor fuckers. They had 8 years of nothing. So if anyone deserves a pump, it's those motherfuckers over there. Yeah, because they've been sitting for 8 years. 8 years. Everyone's like, oh, XRP's pumping, but we're not. Okay, motherfucker. You gonna hold on to TitanX for 8 years at the depths of hell? Are you willing to do that to get the pump that they got? Probably
deserve
not.
it.
They deserve it.
Yeah,
they deserve their time. Like, God bless them. And I'm glad it is, because guess what? If anything pumps, it's good for us, because it puts more eyes onto crypto.
Yep.
So
it's all onboarding. It's all.
What about you? Are you guys hearing a lot of stuff like, hey, what's this crypto shit about?
Yeah, my favorite call was from my friend the other day. He was always about. Basically, I've been talking to him about crypto for years. I mean, we've been friends for over 20 years. And, he was always like, oh, no, it's like fake money, blah, 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 blah. Well, now Trump endorses crypto, and he's a big Trump guy. And he calls me up when Trump got elected, and he's like, yeah, I kind of see where you're going with that crypto stuff, blah, blah, blah. Like, how's it going? It's going well.
Pretty fucking good. Pretty good.
Pretty good. I ain't got time to talk right now, so
I'm aiming into TitanX.
And then a month goes by, and he calls me. He's like, "Hey, I'm coming across some money. He's like, is there anything that I can get into that's easy to get into and that I can make money at? I'm like, bro, I was like, if you want to try to make money in crypto, you have to be willing to, number one, do the research. And number two, you have to really believe in what you're putting your money into.
Right.
Like, you have to like understand these things inside and out. Like if it's a meme, well, that's a different story, but you still have to believe in the meme, right? You have to look at that picture of the cat or whatever the fuck it is and be like, yeah, that thing's worth $1 billion. But at the end of the day, the most important thing that I was trying to drive home for him, I was like, bro, I've been doing this for years. And there's no easy way. I'll tell you right now, there's no easy way to make it. Like TitanX is a nice outlet because, again, we have a lot of really great builders, audited code, etc. But this is also just a piece of the pie too. If somebody was coming in off the street and wanted to buy something, it's like, yeah, I would bring them into TitanX, but like, what else is out there? Like I know where my focus is, but like, I can't really advise you on anything else. Right. I don't know it. I don't believe in it.
Yeah.
Bro, those biographies, like any biography that you watch on like Netflix or something, you're like, oh, cool. I like this guy. I want to watch the biography on him. And they're like, you want to hear the cool shit. You want to hear when Michael Jordan started just dominating motherfuckers and dunking on their face. But it's like, before you can know Michael Jordan, we got to tell you how he grew up.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. That's how onboarding is to TitanX.
Great way to put it.
Because you can't just say, hey, I'm in this ecosystem. It's tits. It's very safe. It's not like anything else. They're going to be like, there's not enough information there. And you have to basically break down everything that's wrong with crypto and then build up your story. Well, I call it a story, but you got to build up your pitch to, okay, what does TitanX solve? What problems does TitanX solve that have been an issue with all the news stories that you're hearing about, like the fucking Hawk Tua girl rugging in 6 minutes. That was a masterclass. Fucking let's go.
That was
well
insane.
Done. If you didn't see that one coming, I don't have anything. I got nothing for you. My dad called me about that. And he's like, did you hear about this rug pull from that Hawk Tua girl? I was like, oh yeah. We all know about Hawk Tua girl. And he just was laughing. He's like, why does someone put money into something like that? I'm like, I don't know. You're using way too much brain power right now for crypto, bro. Like half these guys like come from like the I eat crayons and like fucking I lick windows. That's where a lot of these guys are coming from, that you have to educate on. This is what's wrong with crypto. This is what's right with crypto. This is how TitanX is solving that problem. This is probably where you'd want to put some money. It's not a get rich quick scheme, right? But it is a lot safer. It's a lot safer place to park your money as opposed to, let me just figure this shit out over here.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be the most powerful way.
Most of these things are not investments in crypto, but TitanX is one of the very few that I would consider an investment, something that grows over time versus something that's just like a quick flip or a quick get rich kind of situation. Yeah. Have you guys watched the TitanX documentary on Netflix?
Is it new?
It's pretty new.
What's it called?
Not yet.
Remember the
TitanX documentary?
Remember those guys? There was a couple, right? There was like this girl and this dude, and they basically hacked TitanX for, I don't know, it was like 1,800 Bitcoin or something like that. It was quite a bit. I mean, whatever it's worth.
I do remember that. Yeah.
It's like $12 billion. They just put out a documentary on Netflix about it, and it was actually a really good watch. I just recommend that you guys check it out. I watched it with my wife, and she kind of hates crypto, and it actually explained a lot about how money moves and, basically like how like these mixers work, etc. I thought it was really cool. I think that it's nice to have things like that kind of show the back door and how like dirty and rotten crypto can actually be.
Oh yeah.
What's it called, Rudy?
I think it's called The Biggest Heist Ever or something like that.
Oh yeah, I've thumbed over that a couple times.
It's a good
I
watch.
thought it was about a bank or something. I didn't like pause on it for like a minute.
It goes in. It's cool. It's definitely a good watch. But like you said, it's about identifying the problems and then presenting the solutions. And if you're a sales guy, you know exactly how that works. That's the $1 million offer. Like you're like over here, you're saying, okay, there's all these problems in crypto, people literally stealing money from each other. Then we have something that's like TitanX. Like, what is a fair launch? Like, I didn't really know truly what a fair launch was until TitanX.
No,
because it doesn't exist.
Because it doesn't. There never was.
I don't think there ever was. Right. Something that distributes supply over a longer period of time to as many people as possible, where everybody has an equal opportunity to get in that same price spaces. Like the idea of creating your own supply and all of these things. Like usually it's just the first guy in is going to win. And in this case, it's not really like that. With these auctions, these different kinds of methods that we have to distribute supply. I don't know. I think that's really interesting, though. It's a good point. Problems and solutions.
Another movie recommendation that came out on the stream was from Nathan. Secret Level. That's on Prime. He mentioned that in the stream. I think it was last week. I started watching that. Wow. Interesting. Very interesting. It's just it's on Prime, and it's a series of like these short stories and movies and stuff. Some of it is computer generated, others isn't. A lot of big actors and stuff in it, but it's a wild ride, man. It's just like, it's not a movie, it's a series of different little short movies. It's quite interesting, and now I'm hooked. So I got to finish the series.
What's it called?
It's called Secret Level. Secret Level on Prime. Pretty trippy.
I'm always down for a good time.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, dude. You guys can probably relate. At night, I don't get to watch any TV or anything until my kids go to sleep.
Correct.
It's usually around 9-ish.
9
o'clock. What do? I lay down. I put my phone over my fat face, and I'm like, "Dad, what's going on? Telegram." And then next thing I know, it's 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I really want to watch something. So I'll be like, okay, I'm going to watch this today. In my head at like 8 o'clock, I have it in my head. I'm like, I'm going to actually watch something today. Nope.
I did that last night, Johnny. That's exactly what I did.
I end up watching a stream or something with you guys.
No, I actually,
I'm like, well, there goes that.
I went out of my way. I set the time aside. I even got a snack. I got a drink. I had my phone, got the movie started. I don't know, 20 minutes into it later, I woke up like at 3:30. I just fell asleep. But I took the time to actually set myself up to do that. So I got to go back and watch what I meant to watch last night.
I'm so bad because I have this.
But I needed it. I needed it, dude.
It's like addicting, right? Crypto is very addicting. And that's one of the first things I tell people is one doesn't simply invest into crypto. Like you have to prepare for 5,000 rabbit holes,
elevators, waiting rooms, everywhere. You're in it.
You're in it. Like there is no just, I'm going to go on Coinbase and just dump some money in and we'll see what happens. That's not how crypto works. For some people it is, but for all the people that are really, really good and do really, really well in crypto, man, I can't think of how many hours and days I've put into this, doing due diligence, doing market research, doing streams, building a protocol, managing Telegram. I mean, the amount of time and effort that it takes to like fully grasp, because DeFi is crypto is one thing. DeFi is a whole nother beast, whole nother beast.
Yep.
Because 90%, no, higher, 99% of the people I come across are, I got a great story for you guys. 99% of the people I come across are just like, what do I got to do? Open up a Coinbase or Robinhood account and buy this? And like, sure, dude, fucking go for it. I don't have time, bro. I don't have 3 years to explain how DeFi works and bridges. Like, holy shit. When I had to use a bridge for the first time, I almost pissed myself because I was like, where's this going? Yeah. It's getting nuked on here and then getting it gets magically appears over here. Like, how does that work? How do the intricacies work there? Then you got like multi-sig wallets. That's another level. You're like, what the hell's a multi-sig wallet? Like, oh shit. Okay, what's this? Ledgers, Trezors, all this crazy stuff that people that are just like hearing the word crypto, no clue about. But that's how you know you're early, right? That's how we know we're early.
Yeah.
Once I start getting that flipped, and people are like, yeah, dude, I just opened up a Rabby wallet. It's badass. I can check my NFTs. I can see where I'm LPing on it. So fucking cool. That's when you're like, oh, fuck, top's in. We're done we're done. Crypto's done.
It. You're over.
But I have full faith that the average user is too lazy to learn about that yet.
Yeah.
Until it slaps them in the face. Here's my great story for you. The other day, my wife's parents had this massive Christmas parade in their little town. I call it massive because they live in a very small town in Kentucky, but every year they do this massive Christmas parade. Well, my wife's parents had some friends visit from New York. They're my age, right? Because they were customers of my wife's mom. My wife's mom makes mascots for like the NBA and shit.
Cool.
Well, this couple in New York City from Manhattan, they were friends, and they wanted to be in the parade. And my wife's mom, she made mascots for the parade. So they flew from New York and to be in this parade. So we had a dinner afterwards. We're at my wife's parents' house. We're sitting around the table, and I'm just getting to know these guys. It's a guy and his wife. And I'm like, what do you guys do? And they both work in finance. Surprise, surprise, because they live in Manhattan. And I'm just trying to wrap my head around what the hell's going on here. I got these two people from Manhattan that flew all the way to Kentucky to be in a small town. When I say small town, I'm talking 30,000 people. Okay. Small town parade. I was like, there's got to be more to this story. Well, anyway, we start talking. We're having some wine. The wine's flowing, right? And I'm like, okay, what do you guys do in finance specifically?
Wilder.
What do you guys do in finance? Well, the girl, she's in like compliance. So I'm like, man, all right, you go. Let me talk to this guy. I was like, what do you do? What do you do? And he puts his head down. He's like, I work for BlackRock. I'm like, no way, dude.
Oh, shit.
He's like, yeah. So anyway, I was like, oh, that's cool. I didn't say one word about crypto. Didn't say nothing because I was like, oh God. Usually when I meet a finance bro and I talk crypto, he like tries to make me feel like I'm an asshole, like I'm an idiot, and I'm what's wrong with the world. I'm like, really? Okay.
Okay.
But anyway, so we were saying something, and I just threw out the word rug pull. I use crypto terminology in my everyday life, right? Like, no shit, right? My wife hates it. She's like, why do you use it crypto speak? And I'm like, because it's funny. That's awesome. And guess what? It's like my little fishing lure I throw out. I throw out a little fishing lure. And if you bite on that, I know you might be into crypto. So anyway, I said the word rug pull. And the guy looks up. He was like on his phone. He looks up. He goes, are you into crypto? I was like, a little bit. And he goes, how into crypto are you? And so I started talking. And he's like, Jesus Christ. Holy shit. Okay, so you're like a guy. You're like the guy. I'm like, I'm not the guy, but I'm one of many guys that are into crypto. Yes. What can I do for you? And so he started going nuts. He started talking all kinds of crazy shit about Solana and this and that and this. He's like, yeah, we came out with this coin. It fucking sucked. But it was kind of cool. He showed me the chart. I told him I'm coming out with something. And I was like, you want to read the white paper? He's like, sure. So I sent him the white paper. He's looking through it. He goes, God damn. He's like, Jesus, what's going on here? And I'm like, dude, this is a protocol, sir. This is not some bullshit
this
meme
is
coin.
A coin. Yeah.
Yeah, this isn't some bullshit meme coin. I'm like, this costs money to create. Trust me.
Yeah.
We're getting it audited, costs money. We have a whole community. I'm in charge of 2 telegrams. They're both like 700 people deep. He goes, holy shit. And I stop him. And I'm like, you know a lot about crypto. Like, we were talking DeFi stuff, all kinds of things, liquidity. Not normal conversation with like a average person you meet on the street. And he goes, yeah, I'm really deep into it. I'm like, that's interesting. So it got me thinking. I was like, there are people out there that work for these like massive finance firms. I just thought it was very, very unique that these guys are also super in. He's super into crypto. And when I say super, he pulls out a phone. It's the damn Solana phone. I didn't even know Solana made a phone.
Yeah, the saga.
He's like, you got the Solana phone? I'm like, I started laughing. I was like, bro, God bless you, dude, for being this into crypto. It's amazing. I never get to have these kind of conversations. I was like, what the fuck is a Solana phone? And so then I go and look it up.
Well, you're small potatoes now.
I'm like, holy shit. Yeah. Solana has a phone. They have another one coming out. It's like crazy. It's
it was
crazy.
like preload. I think it was preloaded with Bonk, if I'm not mistaken. A bunch of other coins. Like,
it's basically, the idea is it's kind of like its own ledger or Trezor. It's got a bunch of like security kind of around it that makes, that I guess solves the mobile problem, right? Of doing crypto on your phone. But I thought it was very unique that I never knew that Solana had a phone. It's like $500. I thought that was really unique. I was like, damn. Now, if Ethereum came out with a phone, now we're cooking with gas. Can you imagine? Just Titan. It would just be TitanX dApps. Like just right. Like, oh, dude. Yeah, you come out with like an Ethereum phone. I don't know. They don't have one, do they?
No, definitely not. I think the big difference between Solana and Ethereum is like Solana's kind of ran like a business, like there's a ton of VC money in there, et cetera. Like
they have like offices and stuff. Like
probably, I can only imagine, whereas Ethereum, I mean, look at Vitalik. He's probably
every time I see this guy, I'm like, you all right, dude? Do you need to eat or fucking get some vitamin D, bro?
Chilling, like eat some popcorn. Like
look at all these poor motherfuckers. Someone just airdropped me $1 million worth of this coin. I don't fucking want it. Done. Nuke.
Bitch.
What just happened? Shit.
Right,
bro.
So funny.
That is so good. Well, hey, gents, we're coming up on 3 hours.
That was easy.
30.
That was easy.
I guess I got some work to do.
Oh, shit. I take that back. 11:30, 12:30, 2:30. Yeah. So either way, man, it's been a hell of a show. Johnny.
Thanks for having me on, bud.
Appreciate it. Thanks for coming on. It's a pleasure to meet you too, man. I know that we've crossed paths and chats and stuff, but never on a stream. So we'll do more of these for sure.
I appreciate your energy, bro. I really do. I really appreciate your energy.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate
Johnny,
it.
we
need some more Rudies in the world, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Just like,
I don't know if you want more of me.
Bro, I don't think the three of us and Mo can get on a stream together because shit might get crazy. Like I might be taking my shirt off. Like it might just get wild, dude.
Well, one of the things,
push me. I like a good time, man.
Yeah,
right.
I don't know if Mo's listening or not. If he is, I really don't care. But one of the things I've been meaning to do and put together is I want to get a lounge session, and I'm going to coordinate with some people in the community. But I think one of the things I want to do in honor of Mo is to get like a super stream in his honor put together, because he's been a real big force behind
absolutely
what we are and what we represent, and we all tell him how much we appreciate him and everything. But so
it's like a reverse roast where we just go around the table and tell them what we're thankful for.
Well, kind of, yeah, in a way, but at the same time,
you sound like my wife, dude.
We have to do that every
day.
Yeah, have a fun one. Because I mean, I've had one-on-one streams with him, just like personals at night. No backdrops. Just the house and whatever, and just getting to know the guy. And he's just a really cool fucker, man. He's just cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we got some cool people in this community for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. We got some funny accents too, bud. We got some fantastic. So we got like the Texas, Georgia, Southern drawl, all the way to like, across the pond. Those guys. Man, it's fantastic. Oh, Lucky Charms are magically delicious.
The connoisseur.
Like yes.
He's great. He is so cool, bro, man. He's
all those guys, man. They're so fantastic, and they just sound smart when they talk. And I'm like, that's no fair, dude.
No, I
Like
he's
Yeah,
a family man.
You sound
by
smarter
default.
than me just based on your accent.
Yeah, he's a proud papa. No, I've told the story. I'll say it again. I think it's just hilarious. I stumbled across TitanX by finding a stream that Jake was in, and I just thought he talked funny. I was like, wow, he talks funny, especially when he says
fast.
Ouroboros.
When he rolls his R's like Ouroboros.
Ouroboros.
Yeah, it's
no,
fantastic.
it's just funny. I started listening to him, and I was listening. I was like, wow, this sounds pretty interesting. That's how I got hooked, man.
Yeah,
Some dude in his accent.
this guy's smart, and he has an accent. Let's dig in a little deeper.
Yeah. So, hey guys, I really appreciate it. And for those who've tuned in, we peaked at about 150, 160 viewers today in almost 3 hours, which is pretty good.
Ted, the kids
got the
grow up
voice
so
out.
fast, Ted.
It does.
Bud. Look at
it
you,
does.
man.
And I'm glad we got this to work out. I know we've been talking about it for a while, Johnny. And
yeah,
we'll have it again. And as I always do with all my guests, you
down.
get your own custom wallpaper. Little way of showing we appreciate you and what you're bringing to the ecosystem. In closing, everybody, please be safe, be smart, be kind, be polite, be respectful. When in doubt, back up. Just be careful. Practice smart security. If you're unsure of anything, reach out to a friend, somebody, or just get up and walk away. Just get up and walk away and think about it. Don't pressure yourself or put yourself in positions that if you don't have the money, don't spend it. Crypto can be ugly and it can be rewarding at the same time, but unless you know
when
what
it's
you're
time
doing,
to go all in, you
What's
go
that?
all in. When it's time to go all in, you go all in.
Yeah, if you're gonna go all in,
Don't be a bitch.
It's
This
not
is
financial
financial
advice in any way, shape, or form. Do your own research.
Give me your tink, you motherfuckers.
Yeah. But either way, it's been a wonderful stream, and looking forward to doing it again. We got the Mizuchi launch coming up sometime. We're entering the audit stage. That's going really well with Rudy. Rudy, love having you here too.
Thank you, man.
Question is, I guess I can ask our folks here: should the lounge have its weekly Tuesday session on Christmas Eve with a little bit of holiday festive idiots included? I guess that'll be determined because that's going to be a busy time. I'm going to have a house full of people from all over the planet. So
Can I
there'll be a lot
drink
of
a beer?
chaos going on. What?
Can I drink a beer?
You can, hey, I put it in every announcement. It's BYOB.
Oh, you could roast a goat. You know what I mean? Just in the background.
Hold on one second.
Spit.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. Just fucking, let's go.
So,
what are you doing? I'm cooking a goat.
Yeah. But for those that may not, whether or not we have it on Tuesday, Christmas Eve, yet to be determined. I guess it all depends on my schedule and what my wife tells me is going to fly or not. But other than that, if it doesn't happen, everybody have a wonderful holiday season. Appreciate what you have. Really, if you feel like you don't have a lot, believe me, you probably have more than somebody else, and appreciate it. So other than that, I wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Great success to Warp and your team. And Rudy, I'll be chatting with you. But other than that, I think it's time to bid adieu.
Sounds good, brothers.
All right, I'm going to end it now. Everybody, be safe. Have fun. Peace out.
Later.
Peace out.